you just think what you want to think. So, I mean, I don't have any real problems with it. I think that's just people's.
It's kind of human nature a little bit.
It is, and I think you have to be careful. Um, whether whether you're the perpetrator, whether you're on the other end of it, whether it's a coach or a player or shoot, coach to coach, even in relationships. You can put this on a T-shirt.
Hmm.
You have to be careful, very mindful of trying to change or influence people that believe the story that suits their dysfunction.
Mm.
That's what I'm telling you. You have to be very, very careful. You cannot help people, whether it's a relationship, a coach, like whatever, that want to believe the story that suits their dysfunction.
Mm.
You it's just not happening. I mean, that's going to take some self actualization. Like that's on the you can make them cognizant of it. You can bring it to their attention. If I did something and it offended someone or it was poor behavior or whatever, and I made it about everything that drove me to make that decision,
Hmm.
I'm believing the story that fits my dysfunction. If in fact I'm continuing to act on it,
Correct.
that's on me to own, right?
Rather than
Sometimes,
saying, "Hey, I made this
yeah,
decision."
right. So it's like
Like, yes,
pe-
circumstances and context matter, but
people like to do that.
yeah.
I always say there's lots of different ways to say it, right? Misery is optional or whatever. But sometimes people just people that like to function in chaos.
Hmm.
They don't. There's just
They almost search chaos out because that's where they're most comfortable.
well, it fits their disposition.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just fits their
Or they'll
disposition.
create chaos if they can't find
Yeah.
any of their own.
And it's just a natural byproduct to get away with the way that either they think or they behave. If it suits their dysfunction, you got to keep it moving.
I have a good example of this. I don't particularly want to bring this individual up. Is there um do you have like a real world example you can like not personal that you can like sort of give an example of that comes to the top of your mind?
You want me to make it about sports in my personal life? Like, let's just make it.
Whichever you're comfortable with. I'm just so there's like a
Let's make. I'll just go sports, right? So you have a player
mhm.
that feels like the staff is pro another player or anti them,
Okay.
so they act a certain way.
Mm.
He makes me feel like this, so I'm going to act like this, and it's dysfunctional behavior.
Mm.
That individual is going to believe that story to suit their dysfunction. So when you ask him, "Hey, player X, what's wrong?" Well, such and such and such and such and such and such. I just want him to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Rather than I'm having a hard time meeting this standard or I'm having a hard time.
you have to be very very leery of that. Like sometimes, people will treat you a certain way, and it will be because of something that you've done,
Mhm.
and they'll recreate that narrative to justify the way that you're being treated.
Mhm.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
You can't help those people.
No.
That has to be an internal thing where you can pull back and say, you know what, it's probably pretty crappy. I probably ought to redirect.
Cuz 90
The more you try to tell that person,
mhm.
typically the worse off you're going to be.
Cuz
Coaches,
99
you run into it. I mean, how many work situations are there like that?
yeah. Yeah.
Right? I mean that's like work etiquette 101. You have to be very mindful to protect your energy over people that it just drives their dysfunction.
Because 99 times out of 100, they're not interested in finding
Nope.
the
Nope.
growth or the
Nope.
correct
They
answer
want to be
or
able
the
to act the way
facts
that they want to. That's
and have an excuse for it,
that's the key
basically,
part of the
right?
dysfunction. It's
That
not
is
what
a
it's
fine
not
line.
whether you agree with the behavior or I agree with the behavior.
It's not even if the other behaviors they're describing are true or valid,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Like there
just
are circumstances that led to this moment, but
100%. Yeah,
but
it's
yeah,
it's basically the reason for the treason. Well, I get to act like this because
yeah.
I'm telling you, guard it, guard it.
I wasn't successful because it's. I mean, it's the oh, the JV coach didn't like me, that's why I didn't make it to the pros,
Guard it.
right?
Yeah.
Like there's
Yeah.
probably some other circumstances there.
Happens in work all the time.
No, you're exactly right.
Relationships, coaching staffs, player coach. If you take Kalen DeBoer,
Mhm.
right? That was like some press conference, right?
Yeah.
So because this is minor, but it's a real life example. So because folks view that situation a certain way, it's going to drive their behavior
And how they receive the information, right?
to grow legs to the story. Kalen DeBoer, on the other hand, could look at it either way. He can say, well, they're out to get me, so therefore I'm going to act like this. Or he could say, well, is there any truth to what I said? Therefore, I'm going to take some self-inventory. What happens is if you don't step outside of that deal and look at your
what role did I play here?
Control the controllables.
Yeah.
People say it all the time. I just wonder, like, if they really are interested in knowing what that means. Well, such and such made me act that way. Well, they did it, so therefore, and you play this like hula hoop jumping game where you just try to meet these imaginary moving target expectations. That's why the communication on what it takes. Hey, listen, you want to play more, we need to work on blank. Hey, if you want to yield better results, you may need to eat this for weight gain. If you want to, it's whatever.
May need to stick to the meal plan a little bit better. May need to do XYZ. Like,
yeah. Well, and then you say, oh, well, such and such, Kristen's just hard on me. Well, that's a story you're going to tell yourself. You're going to keep perpetuating it. Right? And there might be remnants of fault or culpability on the other end.
Yeah.
But when your outcome is dysfunction, change it.
There's I wonder about DeBoer a lot. It's interesting that you brought him up because I wonder how aware of the situation he was when he walked in. Like you would think from a college football fan standpoint, right? It's really easy to sit here and go, hey, that situation's probably going to be pretty toxic taking over for Nick Saban, right? Like that's kind of a no-brainer. I wonder if you're Kalen DeBoer and you're doing your thing in Washington and you haven't really spent much time in the Southeast and you're trying to win a national championship with the Huskies and you all of a sudden see, obviously you're a great believer in your ability because you've gone from Sioux Falls in the NAIA to coordinator at Southern Illinois to Fresno State to Washington, and all you've done is won. Like if Curt Cignetti can say, Google me, so can Kalen DeBoer, right? And you go, hey, I'm really good at this. That's a great job. Let's go. They're going to pay me a ton of money to do this. Let's go. Like I wonder sometimes I sometimes think fans are, like if you're a college football fan in general, right? Like we are. I sometimes think we're more aware of sort of situational toxicity or things that maybe coaches are because they're so focused on the thing they're doing that I do wonder a lot of times, like, did this catch him off guard?
And to the story or to the analogy that we're talking about this morning about whatever suits their dysfunction, if the fan base may be acting a certain way, there may be those murmurs, right? You may not have had a successful season. He may share some culpability on why they feel what they feel. The media may be treating him a certain way. He may share some culpability for why they're acting like that. But the minute he crosses over into compromising what we would consider
like personal responsibility
or just rational behavior.
Sure. Okay.
Like he's choosing the narrative that fits. Well, I'm acting. This is the way I'm acting because this is what happened.
And this is the reason we're losing.
So
because this is what's happening to me.
Yeah, it's you just can't function like that.
Yeah.
You just can't. It's I don't know. It's one of those things where it can go. It matters to the perpetrator. And to those that are receiving it too, right? It's a two-way street, which why it makes it a nice little kind of benchmark to follow, right? Just a life lesson because it's applicable across the board. whether you feel offended, you're the offender,
Hmm.
whether you're a neutral bystander. Like you have to be very cognizant that that's just the space that some people like to operate in.
I don't know if this is what you mean when you say it, but sometimes you'll say, hey, you have to make it uncomfortable for them not to put you on the field,
Yeah.
right? That feels to me like an application of, hey, it doesn't matter how this person
Yeah, it is
preconceived
that's
notion,
a practical application of it.
right?
Right. Yeah.
Doesn't matter what they thought about me coming into this. Doesn't matter if they wanted to play this
Yeah.
guy or wanted to give reps to this
Yeah.
guy. I need to make them
So,
uncomfortable that I'm not getting reps.
somebody could not think very well of you.
Yeah.
Do you want to act unwell?
No.
Okay. It's pretty practical.
Yeah. Personally.
They may have very good reasons to
Yes.
think unwell of you.
Sure.
But for you to perpetuate it, it suits your dysfunction. You're not interested in change.
So the difference is, hey, I want to prove this person wrong versus, well, they think this of me anyway.
So
I
might as well be it.
I might as well.
Yeah.
Unless you
Or
that's just how
they've
you
done
wanna be.
this to me, so this is how I'm going to
Yeah.
continue to treat them.
It's like,
And
oh,
it
this
lower
is what they
and
get.
it lowers your it ultimately eats at you too.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just too hard to carry. It's just too hard with the negative energy.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why people fizzle out. They just do. I mean, I listen to Saban a ton.
Mhm.
And especially the last 3 or 4 weeks, right? All these quotes, they're all old. They keep resurfacing. And one of the things that I admire real time in the moment was the acceptance of responsibility for the outcome. But then there was always this: I'm not going to be deterred because I have core beliefs that I believe in. There's right ways to do things, right? There's just and the steadier he was, the more he could control the chaos around him.
Mhm.
It's just weird. Usually,
Do you think he controlled the chaos or it just didn't impact him?
so I think he did find ways to minimize the chaos.
Okay.
The culture that he created limited what otherwise would be normal variables. He didn't remove them, right? I mean,
Sure.
you still had to get rid of 4 and 5 stars. You still bench guys.
Yeah.
You still have a Hurts versus Tua situation. You still have multiple coordinators you have to hire.
Mhm.
But there's this core that you just can't. It's not going to be shook. And he could permeate it through the people that he came in contact with.
How long do you think that takes to penetrate a fan base?
Oh boy, I don't know.
Because do you think it did at Alabama at a certain point?
Yeah, probably.
But it reverted really quickly.
Yeah.
As soon as he was gone, it was gone.
Yeah.
Right. But I feel like what you're saying, and I agree with you, is
Well,
at
look,
a certain point,
well, look what happens
Alabama's fan base became less toxic because of Nick Saban.
here. Look what happens here. Yeah.
That's why I'm
Right?
asking, is because of here.
Like the rat poison was a general thing. It could be applied to
Yeah.
the player, the coach, the fan base. I mean, the rat poison. I mean, shoot, he had Caleb using it.
Mhm.
Right? What did he say to us? What is that? What is this rat poison?
Yeah.
Right? It's like it's. There are just people that you're going to come in contact with that believe what they want to believe, so they can act the way that they act.
Mhm.
That's
Rather than acting according to their beliefs, they believe according to their actions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're just everybody knows those people. Sometimes you play for them, sometimes you work for them.
Sometimes you coach them.
Sometimes you coach them.
Mhm.
Sometimes you date them. Right? I mean, it's just you have to be really, really mindful of it, because two things could be ruined at once instead of just one.
So let me ask you this: when you're coaching, right? Because this is something I always struggled with. I don't coach anymore, but it's something I always struggled with, was when someone was acting that way, I have a hard time still investing in them, if I'm being honest.
It's hard.
Because that's my personality.
The
It's like, you're not interested in doing this, I'm not interested in dealing with it.
It depends on the example of how much you have to.
Sure.
Right.
Does the age matter too?
Yeah, because there's
Younger they are,
there's emotional maturation, but I mean, clearly if it's buddies at work,
yeah,
one of you can go.
But I mean, when you're specifically
if you're under the same house,
yeah,
and you may have to have a little bit more commitment.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a player coach, you'd like to still invest short of kicking a guy off or you leaving your coaching
Mm-hmm.
situation. I mean, you could bench him, but I think the amount of time it takes for the investment depends on what you want the desired outcome to be of the relationship.
Yeah.
It's usually importance specific. If you could take her, it's easy for you to walk from fans because you don't know them,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can go block, you can go mute, you can
Yeah.
not respond. You're not always afforded that luxury depending on where the conflict resides in the different hemispheres of what you're dealing with. Coaches, and one of the reasons why this is important this morning is I think when players are asked to take self evals
Mm-hmm.
and grade yourself before you get to Sunday,
Yeah.
it's a
You
very
learn a
important.
lot.
It's a very important skill set to not succumb to.
Yeah.
Right?
You learn
I
a lot.
wouldn't believe the
Yeah.
stories that 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 help me stay dysfunctional.
Like if you're Elijah Pritchett, for instance, right, and you fall started on the half yard line,
Yeah.
right, and you're sitting there in film and you're self evaling before you get to Sunday, and you go, oh, I fall started because I heard this and I thought the snap count was that and it was really loud and I thought I saw the ball move and all this, instead of like, hey, I fall started. That's on me. I've got to be better. This is an issue I've had. I'm working on it, but it's still crept up here.
Yeah. I mean
Right.
that's a practical application.
Because I know that's the thing, that one of the things that people keep bringing up, right? And they're like, oh, why does he keep getting out there? My guess is the reason he keeps getting opportunities. I don't know this. This is a guess. My speculation is the reason he keeps getting opportunities is because he continues to show a desire to fix it and to get better and to grow.
Right. He's not resting he's not resting in the dysfunction.
He's not resting in the thing, and he's not resting in the thing that I keep saying, which I believe to be true, is that he's the best tackle.
Yeah. I was surprised on Big Red Wrap Up last night. I wasn't surprised, but Jay Moore was like, hey, I would go with Pritchett and Prohaska.
Yeah. I would too at this point.
Me too.
Yeah. I think those are the clear top two guys.
So I mean, I
was wrong about Gatula. I did not.
Well, and he's got time.
Yes, he does. This particular.
He had the shortened off season.
Yes.
And he played in spurts, but Coach Holgerson said something really crazy that I believe, and I'm sure it fell on some deaf ears.
Mm-hmm.
There reaches a point in camp against other players where you're just.
This was a really good point.
You're not going to get any better.
Yeah, you kind of tap out, or you max out.
Yeah, you just need to see it against something else.
Yes.
Which is why when we're going through that stuff yesterday, it's like the coaches will do with the personnel changes what they will. I'm just talking about the schematics, because the outcome when you're working is to be functional.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to come out and be like, "No," and looked a lot better in practice, right? And then you stop.
Mm-hmm.
What you want to do is okay, what's next? That's why I like Butler's answer before they even kicked off about, well, this is what we want to be. This is how I'd like to call the game. We'll have to evaluate it
to see if I need to change.
If I need to change.
Or if they need to change.
Or if they need to change. Yeah. Like he had all those contingencies ready. So that let me know.
He's thought about it for sure.
And it's not a finished product.
Yeah.
He told us that.
And he hasn't gone into it with the misconception that, because here's, I think, part of the problem is if you go into it thinking it's a finished product and then it doesn't look like a finished product, what do you do now?
Yeah.
Right. How do you fix it if you think you're done? Right. Well, that's the problem.
100%.
And so I do wonder, this is true in any form of, in most forms of work, right? Like we could do practice shows until we're blue in the face. And then when you actually go and like, you're only going to get to a certain point until you actually go and broadcast, right? Like I got really mad.
Wasn't it a pretty cool? Not cool is not the word. It's very transparent.
It was enlightening for me. I knew it sort of intuitively, I guess, but
how do we talk about it when we're looking at the product though?
We talk about it like it's finished,
like it's finality, like.
Which is one of the things I
tried. And you just resign yourself to whatever feeling it is, and then you act accordingly. It's like,
stop
doing that.
One of the things I heard the most after Thursday was, "Oh, this team's not beating Michigan." It's like, congratulations, this team doesn't have to play Michigan. The team 3 weeks from now has to play Michigan.
And here's the other thing about that.
Yeah.
That's a good example of it fitting your dysfunctionality, right? Like you're gonna believe
You've
that
got the baggage from whatever's happened.
Do you actually want the team believing that?
Absolutely not.
You don't.
No.
But
that's why I asked the question of how long
so
it takes.
So isn't like that's the weird conundrum, right?
That's why I asked how long it
like
takes
it's
to get to the fan
thing
base,
they
right?
don't think like that. Like why bother showing up?
Yeah.
But then people say, now this is an even better example. Well, I mean, that's just how some of the fans are. So you let them off the hook because the behavior. Then listen, it could have been a poop product. There is something. There's obviously a catalyst that happened. They could have some merit on why you feel the way you do, but you don't have to stay in it.
Here's the other thing that I think we struggle
with. And it doesn't
with.
have to contribute to to poor behavior.
Here's the other thing I think we struggle with, and I think one of the coaches has talked about this recently, and I don't remember which one, but it was expectations management, right?
Yeah.
We had a lot of people, and I thought Nebraska probably should have won that game by 2 scores, right? We both did going into it.
Well, a real easy example that we lamented over forever was the second half of the Colorado game.
Yeah, 100%, right? If you'd gone in saying, hey, Nebraska's going to win this game 28-7, everybody under the sun takes that result.
Yep.
But because it was 28-0 at halftime or right after half or whenever it was, right? And then
we talk about that game negatively.
You didn't get to 45 or 50.
And we still talk about that game negatively.
Yeah. I had somebody this summer talk to me. I had to remind them that Nebraska kicked Colorado's ass last year because they're like, no, they came back late. I was like, it was 28-7. They got 1 touchdown late. That was it, right? It was a certified beating. But because of the way – it wasn't even the way we felt going into the game, but the way we felt by halftime, we go, oh, man, going to win this thing by 50. And then you don't, right? And that doesn't mean that there weren't real issues there, right? That doesn't mean that there weren't real things there. They go, hey, maybe we'd like to clean that up. That doesn't mean that there's not real issues from the Cincinnati game either. But part of it is the expectations management, where if you think you're going to go in and you think you're going to win by 2 scores and then you win by 3.
And if you're asking.
And you needed a game-saving play to do it.
And if deep down you want solutions, right? Hey, schematics or new players. And then you still rest in the negativity. That's what I'm really talking about. Right? Like you want to believe that. And you're gonna drag that out just to justify the way you want to behave about it. Like that's okay. You just have to. If I in a bad mood or if I didn't feel like really dealing with it, I would just simply say, man, you can't rationalize with irrational people.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. But if you peel it back, that's really what it is. Right. It's like they're going to keep telling themselves this story. So they don't have to act any different.
Sure.
It's just, for some people, it's just easier that way.
I felt like
then to actually change and take some take some self-inventory.
I felt like there were 2 sort of main reactions from the Cincinnati game, right? And it was A, hey, they found a way to win the game. They made a play late. That's positive. Or it was B, this team isn't as good as we thought they were. We're in trouble, whatever, right? And I'm somewhere in the middle because I thought they were going to win by more. Was also thrilled that they found a way and made a play to win a game, right? So I had to sit there and reconcile, okay, is this team as good as I think they can be, or do I think they can still be as good as I think they can? And if I believe that's true still, why didn't it look like that against Cincinnati? And so we go back to they had 4 opportunities up 2 scores to extend the game. That's positive to me. Now you have to learn how to extend the lead at that point. At some point you have to learn, but having those opportunities is a good start. You have to learn how to maybe go and get some of those intermediate passes to extend drives a little bit more instead of being, maybe you can't push it 20 yards down the field, but can you push it 12? That's a question that I can look at and ask.
The managing expectations thing. It's when you hear Coach Rule say, "Well, I expect every game to be 17-16. I mean, this is the Big Ten."
Yeah.
And you could easily hear, oh, man, he's settling. He's not.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the same vein, he's also talked about, hey, these games don't have to be close. They don't. It didn't have to come down to the wire, right? Even just most recently against Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm. Didn't have to end up like that. It certainly didn't.
But managing the expectation levels is to get out of there with wins.
Mm-hmm.
And if you win 17, 16, 12 times, or 11 times, or 10 times, or 9 times, I don't think we really care.
How many close games you play in '94?
Too many for as good as we were.
A lot, though, right?
Yeah.
You against
it wasn't real pretty
against some teams that were not as good as you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're talking about like Wyoming.
100%.
You're talking about like I think Kansas was reasonably close that year.
We had a lot of those.
Like there's a lot of those, right? I don't have the schedule up in front of me, but there was a lot of those, right? Everybody now is like, hey, really good football team, national champions, right?
I don't know. Freddie said we still can't run the ball when we need to run the ball. Nebraska got the ball with about 6 minutes and 49 seconds to go in the fourth quarter, and they had
ran about 5 minutes off the clock.
A 5-minute drive
to put Cincinnati in a position where
they had a 5-minute
time
drive.
was
Now
a factor.
they gave the ball back to Cincy with a minute and whatever left.
Yeah, which you don't want to see, obviously.
But they did run the ball when they needed to run the ball. Now, of course, you got to get better. It's not a finished product, but don't resign yourself to that. You know what I mean? Like there was progress made, and believe me, for as cynical and as snarky and as much as we want to be right versus getting it right, because ultimately that's how this thing lands. You don't want your team to rest in that. Like, do you want them to throw their hands up and say, man, we can't run the ball? Can't run the ball? No. You know, I just felt like on the heels of the 17-16 thing and managing expectations that you talked about, and you can only get so much better in practice. I mean, we have never heard anybody say that, but we all know it now that he says it.
Yeah, like it's something I intuitively knew, but I'd never put words to.
Right? Yeah. And coaches just typically don't say that. Yeah. They say, oh, hey, we're tired of hitting each other. Yeah. We're ready to play a game.
They're not saying, hey, there's a ceiling of how good you can get in this way.
He's like, let's just call it what it is. We're not going to get any better in practice.
Yeah.
And people think it's just counterintuitive. Well, isn't that why you practice? Right? Because at that point, when you're getting ready for an opener, you reach this thing where you have to go play a game. Now that you have the game in the books as a data point or data points, plural, you have things to be able to work on.
Yeah, it is an interesting concept because I think you're right. I think deep down we all know it, and I just don't think we've ever heard anybody say it out loud before.
Yeah.
And it's even as like it's just in daily life, right? I think there is and I don't know if we don't like to hear it. I don't know if there's a part of us that wants to believe if we just keep practicing, we'll get better no matter what.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the case, but I mean, at some point, like Bud Crawford has to go out there and fight somebody and not just spar.
Yeah, you can only see so many.
It's like sparring partners or drills or whatever, right? Like at some point, he doesn't know if he can fight Canelo until he goes out and fights Canelo.
You want to know the 93 season?
Yeah, I've got 94 up too.
14-13, it's the ugly one in UCLA. 27-13 in Stillwater. 21-17. Now Colorado was ranked top 20, but they shouldn't have been that. 21-20 in Kansas and 21-7 against Oklahoma, and I remember, when we're being critiqued and, offense, it was a struggle. It's a struggle all year to try to find those kinds of rhythms, but those aren't, this isn't jaw-dropping. So sometimes you do just want to win, and we were playing in a less competitive league.
Back then you're maybe 4 conference games that you're like, oh, this is like probably in the best years, like 4 conference games. You're like, oh man, these are going to be tough.
Yeah.
Like that's now how many times, there's 6 Big Ten teams that could finish 4th.
Well, Yeah, that's. I mean, in reality.
Right,
Yeah,
right. So
yeah,
10. We're talking about 9, 10 deep
yeah.
in a conference.
And I think that Oklahoma game. I still think.
I mean, Oklahoma in
I
94 was
said this.
13-3.
I think I said this. Was it it was somebody. That Oklahoma game was still the coldest game I ever played in.
Really,
Yeah. I don't know what the temp was, but it was
not good.
La Miserable.
I
Wait,
hate that.
that's a play. That's like that fancy pants play. It looks like
Les
miserable.
Miserables?
What was does Les Miserables? Is that
That is. It's the.
means miserable?
It's the. It's the miserable. I
Oh,
think,
thank you. Because
or the misery.
Or is it
something.
the way you said it, Les Miserables?
No, I didn't say rail. My man, really rail. No, I didn't say that. Numb nuts. No. So I don't. I mean, it's just weird. You just have to keep trying to get better, and that's what I think that's what I can appreciate. The personnel, man, is going to be something that they have to process through, but the core of what they do, you got to keep doing it.
Coming up on the show today, we've got our Wednesday regular, as always, Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7. We'll talk to our.
Je ne sais quoi, tiger shark diver.
No, that's Les Miserables.
Je me l'appelle. Un, deux, trois, quatre, cinq, six. Is that Frankie enough?
All I know is croissant.
Oh God. Where's that again?
Uruguay.
Yeah.
Have a very. We're going to talk to Kevin Sjuts at 8:30, and then we're going to talk to Madison Hricik at 9:45 to cover the Iowa. She covers Iowa for the Cedar Rapids Gazette. We'll talk about Iowa State this weekend.
Isn't that a doozy?
That's where big noon kickoff will be.
It's like one of only a handful of interesting games, maybe 3.
Yeah, 3 or 4. You got Michigan, Oklahoma.
Maybe.
Michigan, Oklahoma. We talked to Ryan. Who did we talk to yesterday? Ryan? Yeah, we talked to Ryan yesterday, and got Oklahoma side of things. There's like 3 or 4. Yeah, it's not a lot. It's certainly not this weekend.
Hey, are you
Or this past
vibing with
weekend.
the coach-on-coach crimes that we're getting in press conferences?
Which ones?
Oh, I mean the one that's trending is probably Sweeney and Kelly.
Yeah. Well, and then you had Gundy
Gundy
and and Lanning. I mean, listen.
Are you cool with that? It's new, kind of.
It's relatively new. I mean, listen, if it's how they feel, I want them to say it.
Right.
But I also think you're kind of setting yourself up. It's one of those things where, like, hey, if you're going to say it, you better back it up. You know, like Lanning last year when they went to go play, or 2 years ago when they went to go play Colorado, and they felt some kind of way about how Deion was operating. And then, they were up 42-0 at halftime, so that you can say whatever you want.
I heard an amazing story, speaking of Oklahoma State, about my buddy Brett was telling me about how Noah Walters just wound up in Stillwater yesterday.
Really?
Or day before yesterday.
I
don't know if I believe it.
I like Noah Walters.
I think everybody does that knows him.
I don't know him. I like watching him.
My man got a phone call after finishing a couple of holes on the golf course. Allegedly. Incredible if true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, we'd love to see it.
Incredible if true. And he may be down in Stillwater dressing as we get. Listen, I'm dead serious.
Allegedly.
You see Walters on the old sidelines for the Pokes against the Ducks. You know what happened.
How incredible would it be to have a Gretna and a Lincoln quarterback
to poke a duck
at Oklahoma State?
I saw some duck fat on the counter at the grocery store yesterday for $19.99.
You big duck fat guy?
I like duck fat, but I'll get a couple of ducks and
do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, I don't know if
we're not
paid
paying $19.99.
It seemed high. Right? Like I can render my own tallow. I mean, don't get it twisted. I still will buy it in a pinch, but yeah, I didn't know duck fat ran like that.
You big Fagua guy?
Fagua?
Yeah.
No, I watch people do it on the cooking channel all the time. I'm thinking it's a little overrated.
Yeah, it's not for me.
I'm not a huge duck is fine.
I agree, actually. I think duck's a little overrated.
It was my dad's favorite protein
Really?
And certainly my brother's favorite protein.
It's really easy to overcook and like dry out, I think.
And it's a fatty bird.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Almost everything slate dark meat. It's fine.
Not a big dark meat guy?
It's okay.
Yeah.
I've learned to eat thighs.
I think it's a little bit, it depends on
I'm not.
the cut. Sometimes it's a little bit more flavorful.
Like in order,
Yeah.
I'm probably going whole wing, breast, thigh, drumstick.
Ooh, I love a drummy.
I think they're so overrated.
Big drummy guy.
Yeah.
They're the easiest to eat. They're just right there.
So overrated. Free booty. Let's go, baby.
Let's go, baby.
He made some stuffed shrimp the other day. They looked amazing. Stop hating on that guy.
He's the worst. I just hate the sound of his voice. I'm sure he's a pleasant human being.
Nah.
That's a penny dropper
For sure.
Actually, I have no idea if he's a pleasant human being. He kind of seems like a douche, if I'm being honest.
He has two cool dogs, two big bulldogs.
Well, they didn't have a choice.
His shoe game is pretty sweet.
That's fine. His voice is the worst.
A little too what?
He's just doing too much. Why are we yelling all the time, man?
Oh my
All
Lord,
the time.
just look at that thing.
He's doing too much. I bet he doesn't even talk like that in real life. I bet that's all fake.
I don't
A
know.
little bit of that WC.
He probably talks like Pierce Brosnan or somebody in real life. He's just
Nice pull. That's an outstanding pull.
I had the Bob show with Tom Hardy on the brain. I saw a clip of it.
What is wrong with you?
I don't know, man. I was trying to think of somebody British. I went with Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, let's go, baby. I need
Let's
some more.
go, baby.
I need some more W sauce
He
too.
probably talks like Gandalf in real life. Just
Why?
Wow. What
you shall not pass.
what a wackadoodle. What's wrong with you, man?
I don't know.
He reminds me. There's another guy that I follow that is really kind and he goes to a lot of businesses. He is what's his name on TikTok? Oh, Gerald Grewing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd probably get mad at Gerald. He may be a little too.
Is he doing too much?
Not for me.
No, okay.
But I know what you don't like, so
People that yell at me all the time, like W Sauce Boy over here.
No, I'll send you a couple.
I know
things.
what you're trying to say. I'm gonna make you say it.
Well, because you don't like, you just don't like it.
That's not true.
It is true.
That's not true.
Yeah.
Oh, is it Indian food? I don't really like Indian food. Is that what he cooks?
Anybody of that persuasion that has a little twang to them, you just are out
I don't
on.
mind a little twang. I just don't yell at me all the time. I don't even know about your W sauce that much.
Oh,
It's our defense mechanism. We're loud.
Who's we?
The people you don't like.
Radio hosts?
Absolutely.
Color commentators?
Yeah.
Analysts?
Wait,
Color commentators.
Who?
Color commentators.
Okay.
Analysts.
Yeah, I thought you.
I didn't say that.
You did too.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I did not. I did not. Color commentators.
Exactly. Get out of breath, Brian, on the horn.
Ravi.
I think we should take a break.
I froze up too. Can't see me lob you the bird. Even though I didn't.
That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We'll be right back. More Hurrdat Sports Live coming up next.
I think they've been doing an incredible job. I didn't feel tight at all against Kentucky. It didn't feel like the team was worried. They had that look in their eyes like they were confident. There was never any poor body language. Even after we made changes, it was all really positive. And so, that's a sign of a great team, and they're starting to buy into that it's going to take all of us to be where we want to be in December. But I've been really, really impressed with the way they've handled pressure.
What do you see from Lainey in particular in the way she played in those last 3 sets after you made the change?
Just, really amazing job by her. I think that's tough, and I feel like we put some players in tough situations where you get the libero jersey taken off, but then you come out and you play great. And we don't win really any games. We probably could, but not high level games without both Lainey and Liv. And we're gonna continue to need them both playing great all season. So I was really, really proud of both of them because I thought it was a tough situation, and they handled it mentally really, really well. That paid off physically.
Imagine your first dream home and the feeling of walking inside for the first time. With Centrist Federal Credit Union's First Time Home Buyers program, you are at the doorstep of bringing your vision to life. Welcome home. From your neighborhood mortgage experts, Centrist Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
I mean, yeah, we play together all the time. Like every day we're playing and we're competing. So we all know what it's like to play against each other. We learn each other's strengths and weaknesses. So like I said, we're just super lucky that we have that many people. But I just think that trust comes from practice and comes from playing together and getting used to it, because any of those girls could come in and do a great job. So we're just lucky that we were able to compete together like that. And we have such a competitive gym, like the A and B side. Half the time the B side can beat the A side, and you never know how that's going to go. So we're just lucky that we have that many competitive girls who are willing to wait their turn and then execute when they need to. A little bit. I think at the end of the day, we're team first, and that's something we talk about all the time in our locker room. Like, we're team first, and people are ready to make changes. People are ready to go in and do what's best for the team. So if that's getting subbed out and having to be a cheerleader on the bench, that's what's going to happen, and everyone's going to do it with a smile on their face, because we always push team first. And like Dani says all the time, we're more worried about a banner than an All-American or awards like that. So that's what we try and focus on.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
I mean, I have a lot of belief in myself and this staff here, and the protocol they put me on to like get me back, the rehab and all that. I've been through it my freshman year. We have all these brand new facilities. So I think I told my dad, I was like, there's no other place in the country that I'd want to be hurt than here with this staff and with these, resources that we have. So it never really crossed my mind that I couldn't get back.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centrist Federal Credit Union. That's DBM Ravi, Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Reminding you, if you're out on the roads this morning, get that seatbelt fastened and make it click. It prevents injuries and saves lives, but only if worn properly. This message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. We'll get to Brian Christopherson coming up here in a minute. I think Sid, who is, I think often gets a little bit of a negative rap in the chat, said something I appreciate. He said, what I didn't realize is that
Sid gets a negative rap?
I think sometimes people think he's a little negative.
Oh, I like Sid.
But I thought he brought up a good
point. Do you know why? Because the typo fits my eye. It looks like, I don't know if I picture it as a big I, a little S, a big D.
It looks like the eye of Sauron a little bit.
It looks interesting, so it catches my eye.
That's two Lord of the Rings references. Let's probably stop. Yeah, he said what I didn't.
No, you can keep going with that.
I like Lord of the Rings.
I do too, but It's fine.
Um,
I don't want to mess up your vibe because that break was a little uncomfortable for me.
why?
You didn't like the Hobbit vibe or what?
I just
Actually,
think
The Hobbit was
I
a
think
bad
there's
movie.
lots of things he wants to say, but he's not quite ready to go there.
Okay, let's rewind this. Okay, let's take this back.
I'm just-
no, let's just take it back. In what world have I ever been afraid to say something to you off air, much
'Cause I-
less on air?
I don't think you know how to explain what it is that you don't like. So you
No, you're saying
generically say it's because such and such is loud. I don't think that's what it is.
So I'm going to
And you
describe
they
this
keep yelling at me.
in greater detail because
Are you sure?
yes, because the way you're describing it makes me seem racist, and I don't appreciate it. And so you have these food videos that you like to watch, right?
Correct.
Food videos, okay. And one of them is the W sauce guy that Shane plays the drops.
Southern vibing.
And then the other is this Gruden's Grok or something, whatever his name was. What was his name?
Gerald Grewing.
I almost nailed it.
Gruden's Grok. Yep.
I was pretty close.
This close.
I got the alliteration right.
Yeah.
To be clear, both of these gentlemen are white. I wouldn't describe them as white, but they are white. And they both yell a lot. I don't like it when people yell at me on videos.
Okay. It's just the yelling.
I'm not.
You hear loud voices.
I also, the one dude was like
They're
eating
prob-
raw sausage.
Who? It was Boudin.
Is that cooked?
Yeah.
Okay, it looked like a raw sausage. Like
They're
it just
probably
looked
not.
like-
They're
was-
probably
it
not
was-
yelling at you in particular.
No, it doesn't help. It's just the volume is not like I don't need that. I don't need them yelling at me.
That's a panty dropper.
Also,
You know what? Go ahead. Go ahead. The floor is your
Maybe-
uninterrupted. You will step on your own
no, I don't.
tongue.
I think that's part of it with that guy particularly. I think that's kind of a gross term. Like just calling things a panty dropper, like it's sort of just it kind of cringy.
Well,
to
I
me.
don't know why ask your boy why he cut that.
I don't know. It makes me
He
uncomfortable.
said a lot, but he basically was like showing how good the
I get it.
shrimp sauce was.
It makes me that particular drop in general makes me uncomfortable. Also, the like going really high at the end there, like it grates my ears. There's certain people's voices that just like grate my ears.
It's okay.
There's some announcers like that. I like it's. I don't know what to tell
It's
you.
okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Not a fan.
He's just yelling at me.
He is just yelling all the time for no reason.
You sound like my boy Jernigan.
He comes he comes out of the gate like at 100.
I love him. Sometimes I'm a little aggressive with him because he treats me however.
Yeah.
He's like, stop yelling at me.
Yeah, like I don't need you to yell at me to tell me that like you're eating some really good boudin.
Boudin, yes.
Boudin?
Sauce like a stir fry.
I like
Is it okay if that's his dialect because he's actually a brother?
he can talk however you want. It's not the
He's
dialect.
just not loud.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not yelling at me
Down
for
my
no
leg and I
reason.
injured the other one.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Oh no, he's funny.
The other guys might be funny. I can't hear it past the yelling.
You can feel the tension in the air.
And now
Walt Ravi Kowalski.
and now that he's played the panty dropper line so many times, whenever I hear that voice, that's
He,
what I
there's
think of.
several videos.
I know, but like that's the one I hear the most because I don't watch his videos. I only hear the drops.
Well, you need to watch.
And so
his videos.
anytime I hear his voice, I get cringy because I'm like, hey, is he gonna say something gross again? Like I just don't like it.
Okay.
I don't need it.
All
Also,
Can we get back to Sid Vicious?
they're not talking about
just
anything
do
I
it.
care about, so I'm not gonna like sit.
Food?
Like I don't care about the cooking part,
Yeah.
right?
I
I care about the eating part.
I hear you.
So they're not even talking about something that I'm gonna like sift through the thing I don't like to get to the thing I care about.
Gerald is just a good dude. He goes to a lot
He
of
seems very
restaurants.
good natured. I just don't he's a little loud for me. I just need to just like be a little chill sometimes. I don't need you to be that excited to eat. Like he's like, no, you have to cut the boudin up into thirds. That's the way to do it. Like, okay, cool. Thank you.
Does your other half watch videos like that? I mean, since she's in the business,
She watches a lot of food videos. None of them sound like that.
none of them sound like that.
I don't know if it's the types of food. I'm not sure.
Oh, y'all ain't never had this before.
I mean, let's not pretend like you didn't send me an Indian food video of a guy speaking full ass Hindi and be like, "What's he saying?" That's the thing that happened.
Yes and no.
No, yes. That is the thing that happened.
Said, cut your boy some slack. I said.
Oh, so now you want some slack being
Is
cut.
there anything that you understood that I was missing in the directions?
That's what you said after.
Well,
When you handed me the phone, you go, do you know what he's saying? That's what happened.
Well, that's back when we were on a hard clock. I had to hurry up.
And then we were off air.
Well, that too. Yeah.
And then after I gave you some side eye, you're like, no, I mean, like you like tried to explain it at that point. But I'm just saying
It was important before I asked you if you had any of the stuff that I could borrow.
no, that was after
Oh,
you
I know.
texted me before.
I had to set the whole thing up of where it came from because
Yeah.
I didn't text till the night before.
Yeah,
and
and
you
you're
still
like-
hadn't heard from your dad, so I was trying to.
He's not a great texter.
I had to expedite things.
Usually, I have to text my mom and be like, "Hey, can you ask Dad this?" Even though he has a cell phone, just like the rest of us.
Okay, we want to get back to Sid and,
So I
and how
thought
he
S-
ruled the world.
I thought Sid did a good job of doing a little extra research, finding things out. Where
What did Sid find?
I don't know. It's so far back now. Gee, money. You guys really okay? He said, "What I didn't realize was that Cincinnati beat Arizona State last year, the same team taking Texas to the wire in the playoffs." I appreciate that because
Yeah,
he's trying
but
to
it was,
give.
it was Jeff Sims though that played.
That's fine.
But yeah, that's the same team.
That's a good football team in Arizona State, even with Jeff Sims, who I know we all hate. But
Can I say something? Can a couple things be true at once?
appreciate Sid going back and finding out a little bit more about the team that Nebraska just played. I
didn't
appreciate
know,
that.
I didn't. Is Sid mired in controversy?
I don't think he's mired in controversy. I think some people think he skews a little negative in the comments. I don't think it's controversial.
If I can rock with Josh, I can rock with anybody in here.
Who, D'Lo?
Yeah, Josh is nuts.
Oh, we got a lot of those.
Listen,
I think we attract them.
well, it's very open
We
forum.
got our a little island of misfit toys sometimes, you know?
It's a very open forum.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say about Cincinnati schematically is it's like fighting, right? It's like some styles just don't mesh.
Yeah, what's the saying? Styles make fights?
And you can things can be true at once, right? You can have to do this, and this to get better. And also stylistically in an opener, it was going to present some problems.
Sure.
I'm just telling you, for the way that Nebraska wanted to play defensively and beyond, the more active you are and the more man-to-man you play, the more disruptive motion is. It's just how football goes.
So let me ask you this,
because that does not excuse the fact that you need to take better angles, that you need to be more violent,
more decisive,
and you need to be more assertive.
100%. Both can be true.
Okay.
Here's my question: what do you say to people? Because I think this is something I've heard a lot. That I think I'm trying to take some truth out of it, right? I'm trying to. Because there is, I think, a valid question in here. What would you say to the people that
flipping Johnny the Pig?
What would you say to people that
a menace?
Will say, well, okay, well, if your other teams, now that it's on tape, the Nebraska struggles with that. Why wouldn't you just?
It's not how they play. It's not how everybody plays, though. It's just not.
So personnel-wise, stylistically, schematically, it's just not in their nature. Because I think
I'm just like 2014 Millard North would give us a lot different fit than let's say 2007 Central.
Sure.
Right? Just really good teams. Stylistically, one fits us better.
About what you're better at covering.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Millard North wouldn't be able to go play like 2007 Central because
I think they did in the state championship, right? That was the Fisher game where they had the
that wasn't 14. That was there was a year that happened. I don't think that was 14, but where they just handed off to Fisher 42 times.
Yeah, I think that was 6 or 7. Central won state that year.
Yes, sorry, I thought you meant 2014 Millard North. Yes, Millard North in 07 when Central beat them.
I'm talking about if we played.
Yes, gotcha.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that and so go ahead.
Stylistically, and he said, it's like Coach Holgerson said, because this is what's going to happen, right? Akron will do some things defensively different than Cincinnati, and Nebraska will inevitably get some one-on-ones, and they'll get some one-on-ones vertically, and they're going to take some shots, and you know what you're going to hear? Where was that in? Opportunity has to present itself too, right?
Oh, so we can do it against Akron, but we can't do it against Cincinnati.
That's
what are we
just,
going to do against Big Ten teams?
So you just have to grain of salt that kind of stuff.
Because there's only so far outside of what you do that you can basically vary in order to fit a matchup,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
So that's the answer. Brian Christopherson coming up next.
We're in the neighborhood, just down the street. With a wide variety of home equity products to help you create a relaxing oasis. So you can kick back and relax in comfort. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Well, I think our guys give great effort. Their intent is to give great effort, but when you talk about playing fast, especially in the second half, it comes down to diagnostics of reading plays, determining is it run, is it pass. Because obviously when it's run, we want them going. When it's pass, we want them playing coverage. So that's just something I think we need to keep talking about. Like I said, I think we're always in the mindset of we want them to play hard, physical, execute at a high level, and play for each other. But sometimes there's like a subset of that effort, which I think is just playing fast and trusting what you see and going. And really, especially in the run game and in some of the pass games, rush stuff. I think from a pass coverage stuff, you could clearly see, they couldn't throw the ball, didn't have an interest to. They came out in the second half, and it looked like he said to himself, I don't really know what they're doing coverage-wise, so I'm just going to take off and run. But that's kind of what I mean by that.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
The same conversation as what I just said about the backup running back spot, right? It's about how those guys practice, and who practices well is going to be the ones that deserve more reps. So we'll get in, today's an important practice to get in there and look at it, so, overall, I thought it was good, I think they did a good job in the run game. I think they did a good job in pass protection for the most part. I give Cincinnati credit. Those guys were big and physical up front, and played with a tremendous amount of effort and a tremendous amount of physicality, so it was a good test for us game one. I was very happy with the test, getting tested like that. I think that's going to be good for our football team moving forward.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by our friend Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7. BC, what's going on, bud?
Oh, not a lot, guys. How are you?
B Sizzle. How are we doing?
I'm doing swell, Damon. How are you?
I'm good. Were you offended by my green bean comment? I felt like I maybe should take that back, but you were back to working.
Oh no, I put a few green beans on my plate in the press box, is what Damon's talking about, and apparently that's a sin. But I'm one of those guys who they had it out. They had 5 or 6 different things out there, and I feel like you need to partake in a little of everything. It's like a church potluck. You don't want to offend anyone.
Yeah. After looking at some of those burgers, I was like, wish you luck. They looked a little dry.
I would expect a little bit more from the AFC champs of the last few years, but
those hot dogs had to be boiled, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would say their food was a little. It didn't knock me over. I thought the Hunt family would bring a little more to the table with that, but it's all right.
Did you catch later on when they brought out the chicken fingers?
I missed those.
Yeah, you're probably working like normal people.
So maybe I missed the best part, but
they didn't bring them out. They didn't bring them out until after halftime.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was dialed in, Damon. I was trying to really break down that first half, so I missed the chicken fingers.
Did you eat any of the free siphons and silos of candy? Was that not incredible? I was watching guys walk around with plastic cups full of gummy bears, Skittles, M&Ms. Did they have cereal over there? What else was over there?
Yeah, they did. I think cereal? They did have some cereal.
So they had those clear tubes, and you twist the knob, and stuff comes out. Yeah. And they had like six of them.
Did they have milk, or you just dry heaving the cereal?
They should have had a waffle station.
Oh man, I love a waffle station.
I'm not gonna lie. I walked past those gummy bears about 13 times, and I didn't take one. I was very proud of myself.
Have you seen the pancake conveyor belts at some hotels?
No.
They're just little things that just come out. It's like a little loop. Oh, it's incredible. I love it. It looks like they're 3D printing friggin' pancakes. I love it.
Where'd you? I made fun of Bruns's plate too, so I'm sure he'll be locked and loaded later on this week. It was it's very Brunsian. BC, what did you eat that day?
the day of,
yeah.
I don't remember. I wasn't ready for this. I was all ready to talk about Williams Winery, and I don't.
No, we will. We will. I have to ease into it. I'm exhausted over the last 5 days.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what we had on the way down. We did not have anything special as the answer to that. We did not go to Q39 or something. So we did not partake. Or what was Terry Braden's suggestion about Gates without the sauce? We didn't do that.
So that's what the players got leaving the stadium. There were trays of ready to go Gates. There were ribs, chicken, and something else in there. Baked beans, macaroni, and your own mini size of barbecue sauce.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so they were
Pretty
all grab and goes, and then on the plane, I think it was Chick-fil-A. So it was
you get a W and some KC barbecue. That's not a bad opener.
Yeah, I just don't know if I could ever be the guy that's eating that on the move.
It is a tough mobile food to eat.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you never want to look a gift horse in the mouth.
Did you guys bus back?
No.
You bused there, right?
No, yeah, we bus down and flew back. But the bus ride to the airport from the stadium, even with an escort, was exceptionally long.
I can believe that. It was
just
a madhouse around the stadium. Yeah, it was nuts too, just around the stadium. We avoided the traffic pretty well. We got off interstate, took kind of side routes and made good time, as Nebraskans like to say. So we were very proud of ourselves in that respect. But in the parking lot and around the stadium, when I looked out after I got out of the post game, I was like, man, people are going to be there till 3 a.m. It didn't turn out that way, but that was how nuts it seemed around the stadium.
BC, so how long did it take you guys to get down there? You said you took some back roads, and I know you weren't coming from Omaha, so that helps. But I heard some people from Omaha, if they left at the wrong time, it was taking them 5-6 hours to get down there.
That's on average, yeah.
Yeah, I think we made it 3.5.
Oh, that's not bad.
4 or something like that. We did pretty well.
I was a little concerned when we were talking to Bruns that you guys hadn't left yet. I was worried about the time you guys were going to
You
make.
guys were seated comfortably. For a while, it was just kind of the two of you over there forever in the press box.
Yeah, we were up there early. We left at 11, and maybe we didn't go anywhere to eat or anything like that. So I guess that helps you out in that situation. But yeah, it was a very comfortable trip for us. We stayed the night, got back at 11 a.m. on Friday, and I know people are kibitzing about this and that, but they were 1-0, and so it was kind of the perfect formula. You get a little of the, hey, just be happy you're 1-0, and then you get the people who are a little angry about this and that, and that it's the sort of the perfect dialogue for the world we live in.
How did you feel? I felt like I like Coach Rule's presser given the game, right? Just enough. I'm not super happy. I'm not the happy narrative guy. I'm not the doom and gloom narrative guy. We need to get like I kind of liked his temperament given how that game unfolded.
Yeah, I think so too. We could use special teams as an example. Obviously, I thought it was a plus because to have your kicker hit that 52-yarder, which I thought was a reset of that game after sort of a jittery first quarter. And then obviously what Arch did in his first game, just you felt confident in him. I mean, honestly, on his last punt when he got out there, I was like, he's going to hit this inside the 10. I really believed it, and he did. And so they did well in that respect. But I like that he took that and said, it wasn't like all flowers with special teams either. We didn't bust big return. We kicked the ball out of bounds. So we're not going to just lean into the easy narrative like, look, special teams is 100 times better than it was last year. I do think it was a positive for them, but we'll use that as an example to your question. I think he's showing that you can take something you think is a plus by a little bit and something you think is a minus by a little bit, and you're going to find the ups and downs at both those things as you go through the tape.
I mean, isn't that kind of in a little microcosm of basically the entire game? I mean, let's take Dylan, for example. Did a really good job of taking what was given to him, really made a bad decision on that 1 4th down that could have ended up really ugly, but it didn't, right? So there's a lot of good there. There's some bad there. The offense in general, like that they were able to, salt 5 minutes off the clock at the end of the game. Really would have liked them to end up with points a couple more times there. Defense, you'll take 17 points and under 300 yards of total offense. Probably don't want to give up 200 on the ground, right? Like that's basically the
really good teaching
entire game for Nebraska. And guess what? You still got the W, right? You don't have to teach this after another gut punch loss. Like, I don't know. I think the tone should be a little more positive this week than I've experienced. I don't know what you guys have seen.
Yeah, and I also think, Holgerson said it yesterday. I do think that was a really good game for this offense for what they will have. Not that type of defense necessarily in the Big Ten, but you have to have a patient mentality when you get to league play where it doesn't just happen at the snap of a finger for you every week. You're going to be in a game, and they might be in a game in 3 weeks from now, we know, where it could be a slog, and you've got to have that sort of wherewithal and that ability to go to the sideline after a possession that was maybe an 8-play drive where you had to punt at the 50 and you're a little disappointed, but you got to pick yourself up and, next drive mentality, we're gonna go a little bit further with it. And I think this game kind of presented that on that side of the ball to really test, not only Dylan's patience, but also those wide receivers. Like they made some plays when they were there, but I'm sure that's frustrating when, you think there are some explosives that you can bring to the table, but you also know how they're defending you, that it might not be that kind of night, and you have to kind of reconcile that as a competitor. And so in that way, you hope it's a really nice game of kind of building that mentality of how you have to battle through those kind of, fist fights in an alley type of games.
BC, when we're talking about kind of transitioning to the next opponent, at what point, do you go from, in your opinion, teaching tape and working on what was presented to being opponent specific? Because week 1 to week 2, it seems like those two things kind of blend together almost more than any other week during the course of a season.
Yeah, I don't know how it goes inside the walls. You would know better than I. Like when you make that shift with your team, sort of deal. I do think, and I guess I wouldn't say it's a danger, but they have to be ready to go out there and not take anyone lightly this week. And I know Akron lost to Wyoming, so I'll just use this as the example. Like when Rule talked, no one actually asked him a question about Akron. I mean, he didn't get one question about Akron, and it makes sense. I'm not blaming us. I actually think that's fine. We can get to some of that Thursday with him going into that game. But that's sort of the mindset outside the walls, right? It's sort of like we're going to analyze this Cincinnati game all the way up until kickoff Saturday, it seems like. And so I do think they just have to be mindful, the players and coaches, and I'm sure they are with it, of like, all right, it's time to shift gears. This is what they're going to present you, and this is how we can take advantage of it. Let's move on. So I would guess like Monday or Tuesday, they kind of flip the switch there, maybe even earlier than that. I like the fact that they, and I guess it's been a thing they've been doing where they have the guys sort of grade themselves a little bit. Then you come back and it's like, okay, what can you do better? Look yourself in the mirror. Like what was your effort on this play or that play? And so I like that concept, especially when you got a couple extra days to work with when you played on a Thursday.
BC had no idea. I clearly don't have any idea what's going to be said in press conferences. But one thing I talked about Friday and even Monday morning or Tuesday morning was a lot of this seems to be for the way Cincinnati played, you need to see it in games. You need game speed. And I talked about, Javen it's only his fourth start. And Watson Trent had missed a fair amount of time. Shavers was coming off an injury. To step in full time with that offense, I felt like was going to present some challenges. When you listen to Coach Rule talk about, hey, angles and pad level and violent hands, those are all fundies, right? Those are fundamentals. Then you heard Coach Holgerson say, and I don't know if you've heard a coach say this before, but he literally said, you're not going to get any better in practice, right? Like at some point you just reach it and you have to play a game. I thought that was one of those things that we don't really hear people say, but when you combine with where Nebraska is and how they have to get better, it all fits together, right? That's kind of my general takeaway.
Yeah, I think so too. And you got to see your mistakes against someone else. Just like, okay, this is what it's actually like at game speed when the lights are on, when you're in a big time stadium. Most of those guys have played in those sort of venues before, but it was a different setting. And I always think it's a little weird when you go to a neutral site game. It's got that bowl site feel. I know it was like a Husker crowd, of course, and that was huge in the game. But it reminds a little bit of the Pinstripe Bowl. Whenever you're away from your home setting, there's still that adjustment phase. And the games, it does seem to me like those kind of games always play themselves back to kind of a one score type of game sometimes. And so you've got to have some mental toughness to handle new surroundings and sort of, okay, they're throwing something different at us than what maybe we expected going in. And yes, we've heard this guy's a running quarterback and all that, but yeah, okay, he really is. Like he can take off and he's a little different than even like a TJ Lateef or some guys we think are a little mobile. This is maybe a different type of guy. And until you see it up close, it's just going to be a different animal. So I think it's really useful that first game to, okay, here's where you're at against somebody else that you don't know inside and out. You knew the other side of the ball on your team inside and out by the end of August. You didn't know this team. They threw a few curveballs at you. This is what you did well in adjusting. This is what you didn't do well. Let's analyze that and move on to the next one. So I think it's big. And that's why I've been in that camp. That's you take your 1-0 after week one, especially against when you play another power conference team. You take it gladly, and then you say, okay, we have a lot of things we can get better at, but we're happy to be 1-0. Let's go to work.
BC, was that you? I didn't talk to too many guys before, but was that you that I said I think we may be underestimating the impact of the fan base before the
Yeah,
game started?
we did talk a little bit about that, and I think it played out that way. You got to give.
It didn't seem like we talked about, we'd say things like, oh, hey, they're going to get 60K or whatever. But even up until when I saw the takeover, I was like, I may have misconstrued the level of input. Like, that was a hostile takeover, and it was loud.
And it impacted
Yeah,
Cincinnati.
it was very loud.
Yeah, I think we
very-
I think we slept on the impact a little bit. Pre the game.
This fan base has been very loyal to this team in tough times, and obviously they wanted to jump out of the blocks good, and they had an impact on that first game because you can go back to like 2 or 3 different moments where they caused critical false start penalties. I mean, one was like on the first drive, and then the second drive after Keona Davis made that nice play on a 2nd and 4, there was another one that forced a field goal. And, of course, the one at the end on the last drive. So I can think of 3 offhand. And, the one was their veteran left tackle on the last drive, too, who moved early. And that was the crowds doing their part. So Husker fans should be proud of that. And I didn't think they didn't get down on their team either when it was sort of a struggle there at times in the second half, and it felt nervous. And there was a genuine reaction of just exhilaration when Hartzog picked that pass off. When you see the reaction in the stands and stuff, it's like, all right, that's how a home fan base needs to be to help your team get through one like that.
I misspoke in the press box to Kyle and Ben. Full disclosure, I came back. I was down on the field, and clearly I should have waited for the O-line and D-line to come out, but I came back upstairs with this brilliant take. Man, Cincinnati looks a little undersized. Nebraska looks better on the hoof. But then the game happened, and I'm like, boy, Cincinnati is big up front on both sides of the ball, right? I thought that caught me. Cincinnati's size caught me off guard a little bit.
Yeah, and we can't underestimate like what a guy like Corleone can do to a game just by a player like that's a 3-time all-conference player. I mean, you saw early on it was like the second possession for Nebraska where he pushed Letovsky back right into Ryla's lap. I mean, he's going to have some plays like that that just disrupt and affect stuff. They have guys on that roster that are going to play in the NFL. There were a lot of scouts to watch Cincinnati guys as much as Nebraska guys. And that includes, this is getting away from your question, but that includes Joe Royer, the tight end, who Nebraska really did a nice job taking out of the game.
He was a handful. He had to and good on him for not, impacting the game so much as a passer, but he was grading some guys up as a blocker. Like, he showed a lot of versatility.
Yeah, he'll do himself well with some of that tape, but he's one of those guys where we've seen some tight ends really burn Nebraska in the past, and for him to be held to 3 for 11 in that regard, obviously since he only threw for 69 total, I mean, it was just that stat was impressive. So as much as we talk about the QB run game that dinged Nebraska and what they got to do up front with the run, they did do some things that I would not have anticipated on the other side of the coin, on the defensive side of the ball, sort of taking out Royer from being a big weapon in the passing game, and also those wide receivers who, honestly, the Cincy wide receivers were the thing they were talking about the most in their camp and what they could do. Yeah. And Nebraska's corners really kind of said, no, you're not going to be a big part of this thing.
BC, was there anything that you did see? I know we're trying to be measured, and I appreciate that. Was there anything you did see that you looked at and you go, yeah, that does actually kind of worry me moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, the D-line's got to make some hay. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I'm not surprised they are where they're at. Like, honestly, if you had said last Tuesday, what do you sort of expect out of that group? Kind of what I saw. So it's not like it was startling by any measure, but there's some guys that they got to come along each week. They got to get a little bit better. And I know that's kind of cliche talk, but that's just the truth of the matter. There's some guys that did not have enough of an impact up front that have to be impactful guys. And there's a big opportunity for him now to just let's see what you got here. It's kind of back to Damon's first point about having it on tape now. It's like, this is what it looked like. This play where, you did well. This was a play where you got owned a little bit. Let's go back to the drawing board and fix that up as we can. So the D-line and, watching Trent, I'd like to see a little more activity from, and, guys like Judy and stuff like that. But, let's see where this goes now that you've got a little film to look at and see where you can take it. But that group, I think, is still a work in progress.
I can't stress this enough when I hear, and I get it, right? Because you have to see it sometimes as a fan base, but the coach in me loves the whole, hey, we're not going to panic, we're going to evaluate, right? Where he is talking about angles and being too sticky, like getting off blocks and playing faster and hand placement, because that just lets me know you're going back to the basics, where when you watch that tape, I could hear it, right? It'll be, see, we talk to you all the time about pad level or finishing through ball carriers, or like those things you absolutely can control. But when you're in practice, your muscle memory makes you, it feels right to you until you actually see it against someone else, right? I'm sure, Judy or Van Poppel or somebody, oh, hey, good pad level, I'm not too high, or, you hear Braden say, hey, change your pad level. Hey, my pad level's good. Or, Watson Trent, right? You've missed some time and you're trying to get back acclimated. Like, you need game speed to fit in the run game, right? It's like, okay, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it. It's different than being on film than actually when you're out there. So I don't know. I look at a game like this where you got a chance to get the win. And as a coach, there's so much good teaching tape where you can double down on what you've been preaching, which is why I like kind of what Coach Rule was saying. And how intense was Coach Butler, right? Like, Coach Butler couldn't get that thing over fast enough to get back to the practice field. Like, and those are the guys he's looking for, right? I mean, Coach Rule says he wants more dudes on the sideline. I think he's talking about attitude too, right? Like, let's get back to work.
Yeah. I mean, all good points there. And I mean, even like base stuff, like I think Rule brought up like Williams Winery, like he was lined up maybe a little wide. And if you change something like that, something fundamental,
or just
like
playing underneath a pass rusher on the tackle and he gets outside of you, like you pushed him back in his lap, but you go inside. Sorsby gets outside, and it's a 14-yard gain, right? Like, that's good. That's good teaching tape.
Yeah, and I gotta think coaches love this week. I mean, like you said, you have the win, but there's so much there where it's like, okay, see where you almost had this play, but you didn't. This is what we can adjust here. Let's go to work on it. Let's see what that gets done, over the next few weeks. And hopefully these are weeks too, that this team can build confidence, play some depth guys. You don't want to take anything for granted, but that's what you hope these games are. And just keep, working at your craft and bettering it. But that's what first weeks are for. It's in kind of an experiment out there sometimes. You're figuring some stuff out on the fly about how certain guys react to different scenarios they haven't seen. And that's why you see sometimes bad football across college football. I think if you watch this weekend, it wasn't just a great ball. It was great to have it on, but it wasn't great execution by any means.
Tough out here.
And so, Nebraska has its flaws just like everyone else, join the club. I was watching Michigan, New Mexico back on the BTN 60 thing, and Michigan's got flaws, and, they won a 34-17 game over New Mexico that we'd be complaining about that result around here if that were attached to that opponent. So, everybody's got their things to work out, and Nebraska's no different in that regard.
I mean, Indiana had over 500 yards total offense and 27 points, right? They're 10 of 17 on third down. I just go back to keeping it about what you could do differently. I mean, if Nebraska ever figures out how to finish drives, can you imagine? Like, you're 10 of 17 on third down or whatever it was. You got You have 4 trips where you cross the 40, and you're averaging a little over 3 points per trip when you get cross the 40. Like, if you get that figured out, you're getting there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, and I that's what I like about Holgerson, just right to the chase. I mean, he's like he liked the test. Also, he says at one point, I didn't like scoring 20 points. You know, it wasn't enough for him. Didn't like the 4.5 average. I think promising things, to your point, Damon, obviously the drive everybody thinks of is the Pritchett false start. But I do like that Dana also said, yo, we had 3 cracks at it from the 5.5 after that. We got to put that thing in the end zone and bring it back to the team. And like, yeah, there's going to be stuff sometimes that pops up, but you got to overcome it. The good thing is you saw with Isaiah and Dane why they were brought in here. And you need those type of guys to make plays in those type of moments to be on the right side of the column. And sure enough, they did. I mean, that catch by Hunter was a fabulous catch, not only to bring it in, but to get the feet down. And then obviously Dane just shook the jock off the one guy. And they knew that was there. But that's nice to see that, to know that can be part of that red zone operation going forward.
That's our guy, Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7 BC. Appreciate the time as always. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, B. I told you, Hunter, he's not a nice guy to practice against. You see it yield results in games running after the catch. You better get him to the ground. This dude is constantly trying to give it to you.
Yeah.
And how many tackles that guy break?
Quite a few.
It's high practices.
If he can keep his feet on a couple other ones, he probably is hitting his head on the goalpost a couple times as well. Don't forget, we're going to talk to Kevin Sjuts here in just a second. But in the meantime, make sure you get out to Big Brothers Big Sisters. They're trying to get 60 men in 60 days to become mentors to help fill the 70% of youth on their wait list that are boys. They need mentors, and you can help them out. Go to bbbsmidlands.org to learn more and to sign up to be a mentor. Kevin Sjuts coming up next.
I think they've been doing an incredible job. I didn't feel tight at all against Kentucky. It didn't feel like the team was worried. They had that look in their eyes like they were confident. There was never any poor body language. Even after we made changes, it was all really positive. And so, you know, that's a sign of a great team, and they're starting to buy into that it's going to take all of us to be where we want to be in December. But I've been really, really impressed with the way they've handled pressure.
What do you see from Laney in particular in the way she played in those last 3 sets after you made the change?
Just, you know, really amazing job by her. I think that's tough, and I feel like we put some players in tough situations where you get the libero jersey taken off, but then you come out and you play great. And, you know, we don't win really any games. We probably could, but not high-level games without both Laney and Liv, and we're going to continue to need them both playing great all season. So I was really, really proud of both of them because I thought it was a tough situation, and they handled it mentally really, really well. That paid off physically.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DBM Ravi, Lulla. Don't forget, watch all your games, no matter what day they are, here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, whether it's at Gretna or in La Vista. They've got you covered all fall long with football, volleyball, everything in between. Another guy that's got you covered is our guy, Kevin Sjuts from Channel 11 News in Lincoln. What's up, Kevin?
Good morning. Happy Wednesday.
Kevin, I got to know, because you're a planner, experienced, savvy soul. What time was your vehicle? What time was your vehicle at the gates at Arrowhead?
Okay, full disclosure, I was not there.
Oh.
And hopefully you can appreciate this, DB.
Okay,
this was a summer long debate because Nebraska. I'm not kidding you. Nebraska football. Holy cow! Nebraska football season opener. Arrowhead Stadium. You knew the fans are going to take it over. It's the first game of the year. Anticipation. Rule year 3. Of course, you want to be there. You say family over everything, right?
Yeah.
Daughter senior year, first match of the season against one of their toughest opponents on the schedule. What do?
Man,
you can't say family over everything and not follow through with your actions. So we sent a crew down to Arrowhead Stadium that did not include me. Thankful that my boss kind of let me make the call, and it wasn't until I think maybe Tuesday that I had months to think about this and make the decision. And it was, I think, Tuesday midday that I'm going to be there for my kids. So I watched on my phone, and I was also at a high school volleyball match.
That's incredible, because as Ravi and some of our listeners can attest to, I was completely off my game last Thursday morning. I was a guest on our own show from Kansas City, and I said to Ravi and the crew, I just woke up feeling different because my youngest boy was here in Omaha. They're getting ready to open up against Omaha North. I'm supposed to be coaching. Caleb is in, obviously, Kansas City, getting ready to experience his first 2. And the whole day never sat right with me, Kevin, because I just felt like, and it was cool for you because your family wasn't split, but I totally understand waiting till the last minute to decide, because I didn't get right until maybe for the rest of that day. Like, the day did not start how I wanted it to, being separated like that.
No, see, for you, like there's a split. There's no right answer, because you have to choose, and you can't be in 2 places at one time. And for me,
you had a right answer. Yeah.
It's professional versus personal. And our meteorologist, Ken Shimmick, who's been with us for 30-some, he's on the Mount Rushmore of Lincoln and Nebraska, like Ken and I are really good friends, not just coworkers. And I told him, I think maybe at the end of July, like, what do I do here?
Yeah,
and he goes, Kevin,
tough.
if you're not there for your daughter, I'm not talking to you for a week. And because he knows.
My friends say that to me, but for different reasons.
Yeah, put DB in timeout sometimes,
Yeah, so that's just like that's a different perspective, because we get so far into like emotional of everything. Like, man, can you imagine not being on the field at Arrowhead Stadium for that game? That's amazing, But these high school years, they go so quick. And yeah, like you're in a really tough spot. I'm not going to compare my situation to yours, Damon, because you had 2 kids involved in this thing, and there is no right answer. For me, that morning, last Thursday, I had peace, and I actually had a bounce in my step, and I was like, all right, Nebraska plays tonight, Who cares if the game's going to get over at almost midnight? And, my daughter plays. And
I cared a little.
She's fired up. Yeah. So I don't know what time you wrote. The better question at the beginning, it shouldn't be about what time do you show up what time did everybody get home? That was ridiculous.
Listen, we got out. The guys got their food. We did security checks at the stadium. So we didn't, they had 7 buses or whatever with the players, and we touched down in Lincoln, I think, at 3:30, because I opened the garage to my house at 4:20. Didn't
my.
Yeah. And I think he moved the schedule back. They were supposed to lift at 11. I think he pushed it back. It was pretty late. I'd rather have done the security check at the stadium though than at the airport, like given my druthers. And I'm listen, I'm in seat 42C of a 42-row plane, so it's not that my opinion matters, but I'd rather do the clearance there than at the airport.
Yeah, from what I understand too, Coach Rule and the staff, they had a plan for Friday. And I think when they saw they saw the clock of when everything was happening, late night, early morning, they all go, nah, forget this. Because even if you can sleep on the plane, like, one, it's a short flight. Two, like, it's not the same. It's not like sleeping in your own bed.
Yeah.
So, why force it with the guys? Plus, that's one of the beauties of playing on that Thursday night game is,
you do get an extra day.
You get an extended weekend. You get to catch your breath. So what's the point of rushing and moving on to the next game? So just take your time, let the bodies recover. And then you can get a lot done by just watching film, and you can kind of do that on your own. And then the boys came together that next day.
Can you feel, or did you feel like the intensity in the pressers? I thought Coach Rule was pretty direct. Certainly Coach Butler seemed like he was ready to get it done. And, Dana says things like, listen, we were only going to get so much work done in practice. Like, that was the reality of it. Like, I kind of like, I like the kind of the bottled aggression, if you will, to get right back at it.
Well, it just seems like everything's pretty focused, but yet it doesn't cross that line of like we're a little tight and puckered right now. I feel like it's just a lot of it is just kind of black and white. It's a matter of fact, like Dana's saying, we got to be a bit more efficient on first and second down. And everybody, when they hear that, they nod in agreement. You're like, yeah, try to stay a little bit more on schedule and don't face as many third and longs as they did against Cincinnati. And what did Coach Butler say, that the Cincinnati quarterback turned it into a high school game? Yeah. I thought that was a fantastic analogy of like the quarterback just decided to make a lot of plays on his legs and everything broke down. And that sometimes is what happens in high school football. And I think that was really insightful to me. And I can understand the challenges of coaching against that. So there is an intensity there, but I don't feel like it crosses that line of like, we feel like we're far off. There's just an intensity of, we have specific things that must improve. And helping that is the fact that Nebraska is now at home for the next month. And the next couple of opponents shouldn't pose a huge, huge challenge for Nebraska. So, let's just identify the things that need to get corrected, and let's work toward correcting them this week and next week. And then after that, it is game on.
Kev, what's the weekend look like for you?
The weekend for me, we're here. We're not traveling. So just going to go enjoy some college football from my couch Saturday morning, and then go watch Nebraska play with the drones and the light show and everything else that this home opener is going to have in store. And then my youngest has his first football game on Sunday. So going to see some football professionally for me, and then personally on Sunday. And, the other thing about my weekend, guys, since we started with that, I didn't go to Arrowhead Stadium. I didn't go to Kansas City on Thursday. I know a lot of people stayed in Kansas City on Friday for Husker night at Kauffman Stadium. I was there on Saturday and Sunday for my older boy playing volleyball. So I did the opposite of everybody else in the area.
That is incredible. Let me ask you something, because, you've seen this for a while, and I don't know how to say it without coming. I'm not favoring one over the other. I love Coach Cook. He was sensational. His record speaks for itself. He's a Hall of Famer. But the way I've kind of tried to explain the transition is it's all about timing, right? And you got DBK's personality with the way the roster is constructed. It could be the right person at the right time. And it seems like in the 5-setter this weekend, it played out where DBK had every opportunity and took every opportunity to really make this her team, right? The fluidity of how she thinks, the willing to press all buttons, the being up front during the practice schedules about it's going to take all 17, right? Did you feel like it's pretty good timing for her personality traits to have taken over this program? And we got a chance to see it in full bloom against Kentucky.
I think that's the biggest thing is, everybody's impressed with Dani so far, her coaching ability, and now we're seeing her gumption. And I think Nebraska fans are also learning that, this wasn't just a one time. She did this at Louisville regularly, and that's what made them a really good program. Yeah. She tweaked the lineup regularly. She went deep on her bench and was not afraid to make bold decisions. And sometimes you hear it, but you don't believe it until you see it. And I think Nebraska fans are now seeing the way Dani coaches a team within a game and throughout the course of the season. And the fact that she put a freshman that hasn't played a lot of United States volleyball in her career, she put her in a big time moment and just trusted her. Yeah. I think that stuff goes a long, long way, not just from the optics of Nebraska volleyball and what the DBK era is going to look like, but also internally in that locker room. Yo, my coach says I need to be ready at all times. Well, I better be ready at all times.
I just imagine the intensity at a practice, right? If any moment could be your moment, I'd approach it differently.
You have to have them ready. Right. And plus, we know that Dani loves to scrimmage at practice, and I think this is a reason why. Yes, there's a lot of drill work and a lot of breakout and skills development, but ultimately, she loves to just play, whether it's 4-on-4, 6-on-6. She loves to see them play. And part of that is you don't know who's going to be on the court at any given moment throughout the course of the season, because you might be in a spot where you are down 0-2 to a top 10 opponent and you need to switch liberos. What a baller move. That is not normal. And that is gutsy. That is risky. And so from so many different ways. Because what if that doesn't work?
Yeah. Well, you have to really know your team.
Yeah, you do. And you just have to trust your players. And you have to trust that your players can thrive when that happens. Because Laney Choboy went from a libero, and it's not like she's just on the bench. Now she's the DS. Yep. You have to be mentally tough enough to say, okay, I'm giving up this shirt, but I still got to pour into my team, and they need me right now. So, the fact that Dani can get that out of Laney Choboy to make that bold move and to trust that Laney is still going to play at a high level, just in a different role, that is crazy. It's not normal. But like I said, these are things, maybe not this specific scenario, but this is something that Dani has done over her career, and she believes in it, and she has the confidence that she can continue to do that. And now for Nebraska fans, they're saying oh my goodness, when she says these things, she means them, and she's willing to make some pretty crazy decisions like that in game and trust that it's going to work out okay.
Kevin, I've talked to you about this, and I think we're seeing it play out real time. I don't even know if it's quirky or awkward. It's just different, right? Her cadence. I love her delivery style at the podium. I'm enamored by it. I think it works. It's totally authentic. It's not always super smooth or, this crazy good orator. It's effective and it's concise. I love her delivery style.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Damon. It's so authentic. And I think she wins a lot of people over with her smile, because sometimes when she says things, she just has a smile and a very positive presence about her. And it's hard to disagree with somebody when they have that sort of,
and she could be telling you need to get your rear end in gear, right? And she'll say it with a smile. It's oh God, I guess I need to get my butt in gear.
That's how you talk about Phil Simpson too.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. It's got some Simpson to him. Yeah.
For sure. When we as media members, we were able to go to the first practice and watch the entire thing. And after 20 minutes, I was like, I've seen enough. This team's ridiculous. But my other takeaway was that Dani Busboom Kelly smiles all the time. Yeah, she's coaching her team and she's challenging them and she's trying to figure out what's going to work with this squad. But there's just a positivity about her and a happiness. And I think that's infectious, especially in female athletics. Sometimes male sports, you need the coach that's going to have spit flying from his mouth and he's got to grab a face mask and get after somebody. And I'm not saying Dani's not willing to do that.
We talked about this in our group text. This is crazy. You're bringing this up.
But in order to sometimes, effectively communicate to females, there has to be encouragement and positivity. And, I think just she has an incredible gift to be able to communicate and relate with these players. And I think a lot of it is done through smiling and through encouragement. And it's less like, don't mess that up. It's more like, you truly have the next one. Just forget that. We're good. You're a good player. And that's an effective way to say it to a female, as opposed to sometimes grabbing the male and grabbing the face mask and getting after her and chewing his butt, She just is hitting all the right notes. And one thing that's really cool for me to see this whole thing play out, having known Dani for over 20 years now, she is still the same Dani right now as Nebraska's head volleyball coach as she was when I knew her as a player and then as an assistant at Nebraska. Like, the authenticity that you spoke of, Damon, it is really cool to see that through the success of her career, through her success as a player, she still just has this joyful spirit about her, and the smile just continues to radiate. And I think that it provides a lot of warm and fuzzies within the locker room and across the fan base.
Yeah. That's our guy, Kevin Sjuts, 1011 News in Lincoln. Kevin, appreciate the time as always. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, boys.
Thanks, Kevin. It's interesting. Even early on in fall camp, when she was talking about interchangeable parts, and she was talking about wanting to harness Choboy's enthusiasm. She's all over the place, and we're just we're gonna harness it, or she'll talk about Andy Jackson and defensively or something, and she's telling the players what they need to know in order that she'd like to see improve. But the way that she's delivering the message, I don't know what it is, but it makes it easy to receive. I noticed, I've talked about this for how long?
Yeah.
Even in set 2, when you tapped out on us, I go, this is where her awkward personality and her being a straight shooter can pay dividends. And I think that was the one where Jacob sent me a guy's response and goes, hey, this guy in my mentions disagrees with you. And it wasn't me. I got his point, right? Because he didn't know what I said. I'm just talking to the volleyball guys in the group chat. But, the guy's sentiment was what did he say? She needs to get off her butt and coach.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, that's not she knows exactly what she's doing. And how about how we contemplated whether she would take Choboy's jersey? And then, so somebody must have texted boots on the ground, because we got confirmation 5 minutes later. That was crazy.
Yeah, it was. I also, I don't know.
Was that DeMarinis that thought? Yeah. He thought we may have to make a change. Yeah. And I go, that would be pretty gutsy.
Yeah. Well, and there's a toughness there that you have to instill, not only in the way you coach and communicate, but also in your players to be able. It's a demotion, right? If you're Choboy, you got demoted, and hey, I need you to stay locked in here, though, because I need you to do this other thing, right? I need you to go play DS. I need you to do this other thing, and I need you to do it well, but you lost your job, right? So I don't know. There's not a good example in football, really, unless it's Tua and Jalen Hurts actually is a really good example. Tua.
What about Harburg? Or what about Satterfield?
Satterfield's a great example. Yeah. Okay. It's hey, you're no longer the offensive coordinator. Still, need you to be a really good tight ends coach, though. Right? Need you to be a really good tight ends coach. So go ahead and take care of that. Right? That's you have to have a special kind of relationship with a person, and you have to be wired a certain way as a person, as a coach, whether it's Rule or DBK, you have to understand that person is wired that way in order to pull something like that off. I think it's really, really challenging. I'll push back on what Kevin said a little bit about the communication styles, because I don't think it's a gender thing. I think it's more of a generational thing.
I agree. I'm inclined to agree with that.
I think generationally, you coach high school boys. A lot of times you need to say things in a certain way so they take it well.
The way that I coach.
Yes.
Right.
You're not a big yeller.
Yeah.
You're put your arm around a guy to explain to him what's going on. There are times when you need to yell, whether it's you or anybody else. But to me, that's a generational thing. Now, there's people in pockets throughout generations, throughout genders, throughout sports, whatever, that they respond the best when you chew them out. For whatever reason, that's just how they receive information, and they can handle it. But even in those people, if you want them to have long-term success, you better pour into them as a person before the chewing out.
That's where the authenticity matters in high leverage situations.
Yes. The relationship has to be there because that's what I believe, right? If the relationship is there, the communication style matters less.
Yeah, it takes care of
right?
it. Yeah.
Because I ride with you, I say crazy things to you and you make fun of me and whatever.
I agree.
But
it happens.
We're fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
If somebody in the chat that doesn't know you says crazy things to you, it says the exact same thing I would say to you, it's a whole different story.
Yeah.
Right? Even when mine are
probably says more about me, but
generally more inflammatory.
That's 100%.
No, it's whatever the communication style, the relationship underneath it is what matters, I think, more than the style. But I do think
it was just cool to watch it play out.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about it real time.
I was still reading and watching. I just wasn't responding because I didn't have a lot to add. But
I'm like,
this
is going to be interesting.
Understanding her team well enough and having the relationship with Choboy to be able to pull that off is incredible.
Yeah.
That's really impressive. We've got more Hurrdat Sports Live coming next.
We're in the neighborhood, just down the street. With a wide variety of home equity products to help you create a relaxing oasis. So you can kick back and relax in comfort. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Well, I think our guys give great effort. Their intent is to give great effort, but when he's talking about playing fast, especially in the second half, it comes down to diagnostics of reading plays, determining is it run, is it pass. Because obviously when it's run, we want them going. When it's pass, we want them playing coverage. So that's just something I think we need to keep talking about. Like I said, I think we're always in the mindset of we want them to play hard, physical, execute at a high level, and play for each other. But sometimes there's like a subset of that effort, which I think is just playing fast and trusting what you see and going. And really, especially in the run game and in some of the pass games, rush stuff. I mean, I think from a pass coverage stuff, you could clearly see, they couldn't throw the ball, didn't have an interest to. They came out in the second half, and it looked like he said to himself, I don't really know what they're doing coverage-wise, so I'm just going to take off and run. But that's kind of what I mean by that.
And I felt like we were patient. We put the ball in play. We snapped it 78 times. We made them tackle us 64 times. So, that's getting us into the right runs. I thought Emmett ran the ball very hard and very well. And then Dylan with his completion percentage, putting the thing in play and making them tackle us. They did a good job of tackling us. Now, that's the lowest tackling bunch I've seen in a long time. I'm not criticize, and that's not a criticize. It's just, that's what happened when we lost Wood, and they got Ja'Cory pretty good early too, and we didn't get what we expected to get out of Ja'Cory based on being hurt the entire game. So that was frustrating, but that's football. Heart goes out to Wood. Tough, hard-nosed player. Brought energy every day, brought work ethic every day, brought physicality every day. That's I feel bad for him. I feel bad for us because that does hurt our team. Special teams wise and offense. He just did so much. And his attitude was so dang good, and his work ethic was so good. It's going to take multiple people to replace him. There's nobody on our team that can do what he does.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centrist Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi. Lulla. Look, we're all busy, so being able to manage our finances on the go is important. With Centrist Federal Credit Union, they put finances at your fingertips with their mobile banking app. From mobile check deposit to 24/7 card controls, your finances are in your hands no matter where you are. Check them out at centrisfcu.org and open an account today, federally insured by NCUA. DB.
What is up?
There's a couple things that we've brought up today that I keep thinking about because, again, I feel like we know them on an intuitive level, but it hits us strangely when somebody says it out loud. When you're talking about
the 18 times they referenced the running back room.
Yeah,
between the two coaches.
Yeah, there's when I don't know if everybody knows this. If you've ever coached, you understand it. Sometimes games get a little away from you. That's just a thing that happens, right? There's been.
I thought it was interesting that Coach Rule brought it up like 3 different times, and twice it wasn't even running back questions.
No, and he was like, "Yeah, we definitely wanted to play those guys more."
Yeah,
right. But it's Coach Holgerson's decision. He felt Emmett, EJ, whoever was in a groove. I don't remember how he said it, but so it's my coach's decision. I'm gonna leave it there, right? But he's like, but we're going to plan to play those guys.
You're not going to go Schaefer on me, are you?
Moving forward. What's that?
You're not going to go Mike Schaefer on me?
No, I'm not.
Wow.
Because I think
Schaefer was not happy with me.
What's kind of funny is I was having this conversation over text with Cole. You know Cole a little bit. I think he's messaged you. And
Coleo.
Good dude. And he was having this conversation about the running backs. He's like, I kind of agree with Schaefer. And I go, well, I think there's a couple things going on there. Number one,
Okay, I'm going to let you go. That's fine. I didn't mean to interrupt. I do think there's 2 different things going on, and we were saying the same thing. But his delivery, he was so animate.
Yeah.
Like I let it ride.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see if our 2 things are the same.
Yeah, so one of the things I think was going on is I think we think EJ has more production than he does. Because when Schaefer's talking about, hey, we need to see it in games. I get we've seen more of EJ in games than these other guys because the other guys is none, basically. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen that much of Emmett Johnson, right? It's not like we have this 2-year starter that we go, hey, he's a 1,200-yard back, and then we've got these guys that have never played before. Mm-hmm. The gap in playing time and experience isn't that big. So let's start there. I think that's one thing. So when we say, hey, got to see it on the field, I get it. We've seen more of EJ on the field, still haven't seen that much. So I think that gap is smaller than we feel like it is, right? Because it's some versus none at all versus a lot versus some, right? Those gaps can be similar, but because one of them is none, it feels more dramatic. I think that's one thing that's happening. The other thing that's happening is I think people are assuming you have more information than the general public. When I sit here and I go, I'm basing what I believe about the running back room strictly on what I've seen in games.
That's the part, and I would tell him that's the part I didn't really appreciate.
I know. And that's the part that I push back with Cole. I go, listen, I understand people think that you've got more information. I based my opinions based on things that were publicly available, the open practice and game. That's it, right? Like anybody could have gone to the open practice. I didn't even get credentialed for that. I paid my $15 like everybody else did, right? So I went to a thing that was publicly available. I watched and I said, oh, Makai might be the best pure runner of the group. That was the decision I made based on something that was publicly available. And then I know what Emmett Johnson looks like, who is a good back, right? So that's, and then I look and I go, I like Mosey a little bit too. I think there's a lot there. I've watched some of his high school tape, again, publicly available. We're extrapolating some with those two guys, but we're also extrapolating some with EJ.
So yes and no. Yes to that, different for me. And this certainly isn't to pick on my buddy Mike J, but we were saying two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I ate it just because to go tit for tat over pre-existing knowledge wasn't my point, right? And I don't think that's why I said what I said about the running styles being best. They're not that different, right? One's productivity is different, but in terms of what they're capable of, it's not that much different. Now, the part about the trust level of what's said about Nebraska backs, and that's fine, like, because he's not wrong there, right? It's compared to history in terms of the running back prowess, and it's compared to what's actually been said. Well, we heard about this guy, we heard about this guy, we heard about this guy, and we just don't play him. Now, what Shafe may not know is I'm the guy that on Friday said, listen, if you want more depth, you have to do what? It's your job to play them.
Yeah, you got to get reps.
You got
to give them the reps.
You have to play them.
Yeah.
So I'm already well aware of that.
Yeah, right.
But that's the only way, because people, we make these like sweeping deals because if this happens, then it must be this. If this player's playing, then he must be better than this guy. Or if this guy's doing so, and I get it, it's kind of what we have to go by. But at one point, when you've got a Gore and a McGahee and a Portis on a team, that they played in the order of their ability, because they didn't.
Right. Gore was injured early, off and on, and a lot. Let's not pretend like we knew that Frank Gore was what he was until after he left Miami.
Yeah, 100%.
Let's not pretend like we knew what Willis McGahee was until that last year. Yeah. Willis McGahee had one good year at Miami. We had no idea what he was.
So
right.
Point.
Yeah.
Point taken. Let's bring it to Nebraska. Right. Like Brandon Jackson had to fight. Should Brandon Jackson have been playing earlier?
Probably.
Yeah, you could make the case.
Yeah.
Right. What about Halu and splitting time, or Rex and Amir, or when Aaron Green goes someplace else? So I'm not there are just too many case studies for me to say, well, because we see this, I'm going to assume this. It's not always like that. We didn't always go into the games in my time based on who was the better back. It was what was going on that week. Like, there are lots of things, it's always, Clint and I were always battling who was going to go in. And like, I'm not going to say he's a better runner. There were things that he could do that I wish I could do. I don't know if he thinks
the same,
the other way around. Right. But I knew I had to play to my strengths.
Sure.
So that's what I tried to accentuate. Or, if you look at the natural running ability of like a Brian Knuckles, right, where he's a gifted runner. But there were things that would happen during the course of the week that he just either didn't want to or couldn't handle with the workload. Like, we didn't see the full Amon Green blossom until some of us were gone.
Sure.
Right? Like,
yeah.
For whatever the reason. He's still gifted. He's still talented. But there's lots of things that happen.
But 97 Amon's different than 95 Amon.
100%.
Right? Like, that's just what it is.
Still gifted, still elite.
Yeah.
But
same guy.
Very different.
But opportunity.
So I'm just not going to hop on the whole. There are just parts of that I couldn't really rock with. So when I say that about the running back room, it's not even necessarily that I've seen more where I base it on. I'm thinking with running backs, You need opportunity.
Sure.
And you can't land the plane until you have a like comparison. So I'm not gonna just say, well, he's certainly this because he's playing and this guy isn't. Sometimes you just have to play that guy and see what happens. And until that, it's why I said about coming in with subs versus
so that
not
was just going to bring
subs,
that up, right?
Or running
there's
similar plays or similar opportunities. Because I'm going to tell you how running backs think.
Oh, I could have done that if you called that play for me.
Yep.
I could have done that if those guys were in with me.
Yep.
Right.
Give me
those opportunities.
Give me X amount of carries.
Yeah. Let me get in a rhythm.
I'm just like, that's just how running backs think.
And part of it's true, right? It's not just how they think.
Yeah,
it's
so-
also partially true, right?
So
like some guys need to get in a rhythm.
So I get that the whole. Like I get that the whole.
Amazing Daniel says Carl Buckhalter comes to mind. That's a good
there's
one. There's a bunch of them.
There's a
There's a ton
bunch.
of them. There's a ton of them.
Which is one of the, and I let it go because I'm like, I'm not gonna.
Do we want to have that battle?
I'm not
today?
gonna die on that hill. I just felt like it was, I don't know. It seemed short-sighted, but hit the catalyst for why he thought the way he did. I thought was accurate. Because we've heard about this guy before. 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 And they don't play. Right? So
at some point, you have to wonder.
You either have to play him or stop talking about it.
Yeah. Those are your options.
So I like that part when I said that we were talking about two different things.
That part's accurate.
Yep. I
Either stop talking about him or start playing him.
Is that the Spider-Man meme?
Yeah. Boom. Pointing.
Like, yeah. So we were there. The rest on the assumption
got
a
little
was like,
off track a little bit.
That's not what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I like both guys.
I would sit here and tell you the same thing
from a personal standpoint.
I would sit here and tell you the same thing about multiple positions at Nebraska right now. That's how I feel about the D-line. I was higher on the D-line because I was extrapolating from a smaller sample set than people were comfortable with. And I still think they're going to get there. I mean, I feel vindicated with Keona Davis. I thought he played well. I think Williams-Winari, there's a lot there. You got to clean some things up, but physically you can see it, right? And then probably need a little bit more consistency out of like Riley Van Poppel and Elijah Judy, right? Like there's probably need a little. I don't know that we're ever going to get the explosiveness that I wanted out of Cam Lenhart. I just don't know if that's in his game. Can he be a very solid player still? Probably. Am I going to get the splash plays that I thought I was going to get as a freshman? I don't know, right? We're starting to get enough of a sample size with Cam that I'm going to stop extrapolating, right? And start just being like, hey, this is kind of what he is. Very solid. Probably not going to be a game wrecker, right? Same thing with like linebackers and jacks, right? I sit there and I go, okay, I really like McGahee's physical abilities. I really like Shaver's physical abilities. What does that look like? I'm going to start extrapolating from those things, right? Shaver's had a big play. McGahee got burned a couple times, right? That doesn't make them any less talented or less capable, but now the sample size looks a little different.
Somebody said to me, oh, now I can see why McGahee slid on the depth chart. And that's not the point of the exercise, because then I had to come back and say, I'm like, well, the practice reps with top groups, like he was thrown into action quicker than I think they thought.
Yeah.
Personal opinion, I can't even confirm or deny. This is total speculation.
Because sometimes you think
you're going to get something from a guy, and then you
don't,
and then you're like, "Hey, next up,
hey, you got to try somebody else." Right
now, will McGahee be more prepared with who he works with, probably defensively this week?
You'd hope so.
I bet.
Yeah,
I bet.
But that's going to partially be on him on how he prepares this week,
right? Will Shavers get more reps from a health standpoint than he did coming out of fall camp?
You hope so.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Will
Watson Trent?
Will Watson Trent be getting more live work than he got heading into Cincinnati?
Game one? Certainly hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what that yields,
we don't know.
I don't know.
But
you can't give yourself the opportunity to get better without the proper preparation.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to invest in to get the outcome you want. You don't get any accidental outcomes typically when it comes to development. You have to be intentional.
Right.
And if you want to develop depth and stop talking about it, you have to let it ride. At some point, you just have to clip the wings and say, I'm willing to live with the results to get the experience. Then you can have a depth conversation. What I hated was I kept hearing it. I mean, I was going to say stupid. These shows talk about, well, we're concerned about. Do you know why you're concerned about running back depth? Because they're not playing them.
Mm-hmm.
So the coaches, if you want more depth, play them.
You have to play the
Live
guys.
with the mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
If not, stop talking about it.
Yeah, then you don't want depth, which is fine.
Right? You clearly don't, because the only way you get experience and the baptism by fire is to go through it, which is why I think Coach Rule kept harping on it.
Yeah, I agree. And we've seen this a million times.
And I just use running backs as an example.
We've seen this a million times. I'll go back. This is a weird example, but I'll go back to 2016, 2017 Creighton, right? Mo Watson goes down with an ACL. And I'm sitting there and I go, hey, you have to play Davion Mintz now so that he's ready by March. And you have to live with the mistakes in the meantime. A very similar thing happened to Xavier that exact same year. Their starting point guard, I think it was Ed Sumner, tore his ACL. They brought in Quentin something, and he was bad for a while. They went through some losing streaks. They end up making a run, I think, to the Elite Eight. Coach McDermott was not willing to live with the mistakes in the meantime. Isaiah Zierden ended up starting at point guard, right? That's the thing that drove me crazy because I thought it limited their upside. I think when you're not willing to live with the mistakes sometimes, you're saying, hey, I'm going to cap my upside here because I think X, Y, and Z is good enough.
Well,
my firm
we
belief.
say it all the time, man. Coaches don't always play the best players. They play the guys they trust.
Right. But sometimes
you just hope they're the same person.
Sometimes you can't figure out if you trust a guy or not until
you actually go through it. Yeah.
Until you play him, right? And part of that's on the player because there's probably a reason that you don't trust him.
I feel good, and I know it got pushed back during the segment. I feel really, really good about the talent discrepancy in that room not being very great.
Yeah.
It's really, really similar. Now, you want to talk to me about productivity, then I'm going to come back at you with opportunity.
Sure.
So we can have the whole chicken and the egg conversation.
And that's why I brought up. That's why I brought up that EJ's productivity is not as prolific as we tend to.
It's short-sighted.
Yes.
To lump the room based on coaches providing opportunity. At no point did I think that Anthony Hricik wasn't ever going to be a good player. He just hadn't had the opportunity yet.
Yeah.
So
and that was a situation where you said, hey, we've got a guy who's pretty good right now that we think we know exactly what we're going to get from. But we think this guy gives us a higher ceiling
if we want to get to where we want to be.
And so we're going to have to live with some of the bumps in the road on the way there.
Sometimes it just
right. Like if you want the game, I keep using Vincent Shavers because I like him, but if you want kind of the game wrecking ability Vincent Shavers brings to the table, until he gets enough reps that you can trust him on every single play, you're going to have to live with some bumps.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good one. And
you're going to have to live with some bumps.
And I just will stick with him. He's going to continue to get game reps at game speed,
yes.
right? He's never been he has yet to be a full-time starter.
Yeah.
So the progression in terms of his development will get better. And you're talking about a guy that missed some practice time because of the lower body injuries.
Banged up.
So
Williams-Nwaneri is another really good example. If you want that pass rush ability, while he figures some things out in terms of lining up in the right spot and not over pursuing and keeping integrity on his rush lanes, you're going to have to live with some of those bumps because he gives you something you want and need, right? He has not played very much football. That was his fifth football game ever.
Oddly specific about a 3 technique and pass rush integrity lanes. Oddly specific.
I mean, I think it was very...
I don't know who he's talking about. I just know it was somebody that was playing a 3 technique on that particular play. It's just, I like that.
Yes.
Though.
Yeah. You have to, if you want the upside, and let's not forget, he brought this up as well. Still the youngest team in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Still the youngest team in the Big Ten. If you want those young players to end up maximizing, like we saw from, who's the example? Oh, like we were talking about Buffalo off the air, right? Buffalo Bills.
Oh, Bills, yeah.
You thought they really maximized last year.
I did.
Right? And so
I thought that was about as good
as that particular group of players could probably play.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe you get that again this year. Maybe you don't. I don't know. We'll talk about that tomorrow when we preview the NFL. But if you want those guys to maximize, at some point you have to put Keon Coleman out there and say, hey, you're a rookie. Let's figure it out, bud.
Or you got to roll the dice with Shakur being your guy.
Yeah.
Right, at wideout. Like, you just have to.
Or you have to say, hey, at some point I'm going to trust Josh Allen not to turn the ball over so much. And finally he didn't, right? Like that was his best year in terms of turnovers, both fumbles and interceptions, right? That's a guy that's had turnover problems his whole career. And at some point, you have to say, hey, if we're going to be the best version of ourselves, we got to see if he can stop turning the ball over. And he did.
It's like it's just weird how in the media we're so quick to talk about like running back depth or such and such depth, and we haven't even seen it.
Yeah.
But so just say
why,
they haven't had the
that's why we say it though.
No, just say you haven't had the opportunity, right? Because you don't know.
Yeah. There's
like
a difference.
You don't.
I think there's a difference between depth and proven depth.
And I don't know why that aggravates me so much, except for you would never know what kind of backfield Nebraska had unless all the guys played.
Yeah. Like, hey, this guy starts one game against
Dude, why do we lament about that 2012, 13, 14 run? Because Aaron Green had to go someplace else. And so did Braylon Hurd. And then we're like, oh,
and
shoot.
Let's not act like we weren't mad when they did, right?
And then we're like, oh, shoot, let's go back. This is as much talent in the room since. And two of those guys left, like, because you didn't know what you had.
And let's not pretend like we weren't upset that Aaron Green left, right? Let's not pretend like I remember people being like, oh, man, we're sticking with – how come Amir Abdullah's getting reps, not Aaron Green?
Oh, I mean –
we remember that conversation?
I'm just like that's – I don't want to relitigate it. I'm just telling you, if you ask me why I get so – and I was cool yesterday, but for the most part, why I get so ramped up about when we talk about depth, you can start making the depth claims when you see them and you think that there is – you see them enough where you can say to yourself, yeah, I think there's a significant drop-off over time.
Sure. Whereas, like, that's part of the reason I liked the depth on the defensive line, even though we've seen almost none of them be full-time starters, right?
Yeah.
I sit there and I go, okay.
You wouldn't talk about our depth back in the day unless you saw us start games.
Do you think
it wasn't going to be enough for spot time?
Nobody was talking about
then
depth.
You start to say, oh, they could have started for anybody else in the country because we started games for – you still have to see it before you want to make any proclamations.
This is the difference, and I'm not comparing the teams or the eras, but this is the difference between, let's say, the start of 93 versus the start of 95 for you guys, right? Start of 93, we're probably –
Was that North Texas and Texas Tech and UCLA?
I believe so.
Okay, that's 93.
So – you're not talking about before the season starts in 93, the depth in the running back room.
No.
Right? You are in 95.
Yeah.
Right? In 93, you're not talking about the depth at quarterback because we haven't seen Brooke Behringer play yet, right?
Yep.
You are in 95. Right? Like there's a difference.
Who was behind me?
There's a difference in
Clinton
that.
was prop. LP was a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we weren't talking about that.
No. And it's the same guys.
Yeah.
The exact same guys.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to gas me up.
Right? So it's about opportunity and our perspective of
it's just low-hanging, lazy fruit.
It's the same thing that I was
me
talking about with the D line in the offseason, right? 2 years ago, we didn't think anything of Ty and Nash. Literally nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like we thought little to nothing of those guys. You know, a year ago, we didn't think much of Jamari Butler or MJ Sherman either because the first year they came in as transfers, they didn't do what we wanted them to do. Right? Now we're going, oh, man, how are we going to replace MJ Sherman? And Jamari Butler's playing at LSU, and MJ Sherman ran out eligibility, and Ty Nash in the NFL, or Ty Robinson in the NFL. And so you're sitting here and you go, oh, man. But at the exact same time, at this point in their careers, we did not care about those guys. That's the perspective that's important here because there's just we don't know until we see it. But so you can't – I feel like it's hard to get mad when we're like, hey, I think I see it, right? I think I see it coming. But they're like, oh, no, these aren't those guys. So, well, you didn't think those other guys were those guys either.
Until
they were.
Until they get out.
Right? Nobody's that guy until they are. Yeah. Opportunity is the difference here. Let's take a quick break. We're going to talk a little Iowa State at the end of the show here, but we've got some more things we got to get to as well, including some people talking out of their bundas about. Yeah, I know. I was trying to keep it family friendly so we didn't have to mark it NC-17 like when Verse comes on. People kind of talking out of their bundas here about the state of the quarterbacks in the NFL. We're going to do our picks tomorrow, but there was some foolishness happening yesterday on the internet. We'll get to that next here on Hurrdat Sports Live.
I think they've been doing an incredible job. I didn't feel tight at all against Kentucky. It didn't feel like the team was worried. They had that look in their eyes like they were confident. There was never any poor body language. Even after we made changes, it was all really positive. And so, that's a sign of a great team, and they're starting to buy into that it's going to take all of us to be where we want to be in December. But I've been really, really impressed with the way they've handled pressure.
What do you see from Lainey in particular in the way she played in those last 3 sets after you made the change?
Just, really amazing job by her. I think that's tough, and I feel like we put some players in tough situations where you get the libero jersey taken off, but then you come out and you play great. And, we don't win really any games. We probably could, but not high-level games without both Lainey and Liv, and we're going to continue to need them both playing great all season. So I was really, really proud of both of them because I thought it was a tough situation, and they handled it mentally really, really well. That paid off physically.
Imagine your first dream home and the feeling of walking inside for the first time. With Centrist Federal Credit Union's First Time Home Buyers program, you are at the doorstep of bringing your vision to life. Welcome home. From your neighborhood mortgage experts, Centrist Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
We play together all the time. Like every day we're playing and we're competing. So we all know what it's like to play against each other. We learn each other's strengths and weaknesses. So like I said, we're just super lucky that we have that many people. But I just think that trust comes from practice and comes from playing together and getting used to it, because any of those girls could come in and do a great job. So we're just lucky that we were able to compete together like that. And we have such a competitive gym, like the A and B side. Half the time the B side can beat the A side, and you never know how that's going to go. So we're just lucky that we have that many competitive girls who are willing to wait their turn and then execute when they need to. A little bit. I think at the end of the day, we're team first, and that's something we talk about all the time in our locker room. Like, we're team first, and people are ready to make changes. People are ready to go in and do what's best for the team. So if that's getting subbed out and having to be a cheerleader on the bench, that's what's going to happen, and everyone's going to do it with a smile on their face, because we always push team first. And like Dani says all the time, we're more worried about a banner than an All-American or awards like that. So that's what we try and focus on.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. I got to tell you real quick about my friends over at Next Gen Male Medical Clinic. I went in last week, got tested, and listen, I've done the testosterone thing before. Wasn't necessarily feeling that this time, but they've got a ton of options regardless of what your goals are. They can help you out with weight loss. They can help you out with libido. Even if you do want a little bit more energy, doesn't have to be hormone replacement unless that's what you want. They've got some options for peptides as well. I can't wait to get started with them. You should too. 402-614-9700 to give them a call and get an appointment. I know DB's heading in soon as well to get his stuff going. So it's going to be a good time hanging out with our friends over at Next Gen Male Medical. Wanted to do something because I Promised Rico we would. And also because we need an update on the standings. We did a college quarterback draft over the offseason. And before we get to our NFL quarterback talk, we need to get to our college quarterback updated standings. Rico, do you have those for us, bud?
Drum roll.
There we go. All right.
please.
So we're gonna have to zoom this in for DB. So I'm in first place, no surprise. DB and TK are tied for second, 1 point, or tied for third, 1 point behind Tim. Excuse me, no. KB is in second place at 32. Then you've got Tim at 28, Damon and TK at 27, and then bringing up the rear, Team Roston at 22. They had a rough go. So Arch Manning got them 0 points.
Yeah, same with me. And a guy, I drafted a guy that I think is a better person than he is a player, Nico Imaliava, who got me exactly 0 points.
That's a goose egg. Now I have a little help because Rocco Beck played twice already.
Yeah.
But so does second place with Avery Johnson, who's also played twice. So
how about Klubnik and Arch Manning yielding 0 points?
That's tough. That's tough out here. I feel pretty good about some of my picks. I feel good about Jalen Daniels if he can stay healthy. I feel really good about Devin Dampier. That may have been the pick of the draft if this goes the way.
I mean, are you going to get that kind of play from Daniels?
If he's healthy, you will. That's who he's been when he's been healthy. He just can't stay on the field. That's why he was my last pick. So you know what's funny is I didn't do this because I didn't want to go like full homer. My debate for that last pick, do you know who the other guy I was thinking about was?
Who?
Tommy Castellanos.
Oh, yeah.
Because I thought to myself, Gus Malzahn might have that dude cooking.
So I'm hanging my hat on Mensa and Arnold to maybe be better than I would have originally thought with where I took him. And
Arnold could be okay. If Auburn's okay, he'll be good.
I need Sellers to step up.
You do need Sellers to step up. I need that's probably what I'm getting. 4 or 5 points a week is probably what I'm getting out of Aller. Like that's probably about right. Altmaier, I was happy with my Altmaier performance.
How about KB getting Avery Johnson to look functional like that?
For now.
Because he was just steady. KB's the bulk of what he's doing is his consistency.
Yeah, it's steady.
Right.
I'll be interested to see what the like Bryce Underwood, Austin Simmons looks like for him. I think Simmons will put up points just because Ole Miss, that's kind of what they do. But I'll be interested with Bryce Underwood, and then I'm very intrigued when Jaden Maeva has to play real football teams because Missouri State does not qualify as that.
You know who I maybe would have gone back to take a look at?
Who?
Especially if they're going to throw the air out of the ball and run QB draws.
Yeah.
CJ Carr.
Yeah, well, that's what Tim TV took him, right? Yeah, that was kind of an off the radar pick. That I don't even think he was.
He didn't. Did we type that wrong? CJ Bailey or CJ Carr?
Oh, he took Bailey from NC State. That's right. You're right. I thought I had him in my head that he took CJ Carr. Yeah, that'll be interesting. I don't know if they'll replicate that.
I do
game plan.
I liked it then. I like it now. I still think DePavio was a sneaky pick.
That's a good pick. Yeah, I don't know. So I don't know if he's going to win enough because
that was the thing,
right? Because if they win 6 or 7, you're in pretty good shape there. If you don't, like if they're closer to 4 or 5, then that's going to hurt you long term.
What's the best top 25 game this week? Is it Iowa State? Or
Iowa's
Michigan?
Technically not ranked, I don't believe. So
they fall out?
I don't think they're in there. I'll double check here. I have the rankings up.
Nope, they're not. They're out.
They're
not in it.
20 or it's 16 and 18 respectively. So yeah, Oklahoma and Michigan, I believe, are the only top 25 on top 25 matchup this week.
Anything good between Ole Miss and Kentucky?
I don't think Kentucky's very good.
I don't know. What would you make that line?
I haven't looked at it. I would say, where's it at?
Lexington.
I'm gonna say Ole Miss just more than a key number, 7.5
at Kroger Field. It is 10.5.
Oh, that's a little bigger than I thought. Yeah.
What would you make Louisiana Monroe and Alabama at Bryant Denny?
That probably is gonna be somewhere in the 40s.
36 in the.
What the hook gonna be?
What the hook gonna be?
Yeah, there's not a ton of great games this week.
Surprised that OU gets the fat 4.5.
A little. I'm not a Venables believer.
I know. You've been hating on my Oklahoma love all offseason.
Hate is strong.
Right. Hey, ride with the Wolverines.
I'm a doubter. I think Venables is one of those guys that is going to end up just being like, hey, I should be a defensive coordinator. That's what I'm good at.
Such a hater.
I mean, we saw it work out really well for Gus Malzahn last week, where he's like, hey,
It was a one-game sample size.
But okay, tell me you don't believe deep down in your core that Gus Malzahn wants nothing to do with all the nonsense. He just wants to coach ball.
Nah, I hear you.
I think it's the same thing with Dana.
Kind of like Dana, yeah.
I think it's the same thing. It's like, hey, I can make 7 figures to just do the one thing I like doing. Absolutely. Done.
What would you maybe I should ask Evian.
Yeah.
Our Illinois buddy, Mr.
We'll have to talk to him at some point. He's got his own show now.
So what would you have made Illinois going to Wallace Wade Stadium?
Dookie? I'm going to say...
I mean, the buzzsaw known as Durham.
6.5.
2.5.
Oh. What do they know that I don't know? I think Illinois is
right for the pickings.
Significantly better than Duke.
Huh.
Your guy Mensah, though, you need him to.
I do.
You need him to ball out. Yeah. I need Altmaier to ball out on the other side.
Take care of the rock.
And got 2 points up for grabs between you and me there with the W.
What about Michigan State, Boston College? It's in East Lansing.
Michigan State, Boston College. I don't have a good feel for Boston College yet.
It's 4.5.
Yeah, Michigan State?
Yeah. Now, this one's crazy. 0-1 UCLA, who look god-awful.
Terrible. Although, I think a lot of that's Utah.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
They go to Las Vegas.
Ooh.
At Allegiant.
Fighting Dan Mullins.
2-0 Rebels.
Yeah, the last chance U Rebels. Last chance UNLV against UCLA. I think I'm going to go UCLA as a 3.5 point favorite.
UCLA is a 2.5 point
I almost said 2.5.
Why?
Because I listen, I have a weird fascination with this UNLV team, so I've kind of paid attention. I don't
little smoke and mirror.
I don't think it's going to go very well. I'm like just enamored with this team, and I think at some point when they have to start playing real football teams, they're going to get the breaks beaten off them.
Dude, UCLA is favored.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Vegas agrees with you about
and
UNLV being very fraudulent.
I mean, and UNLV doesn't have anything that Utah has to throw at UCLA.
Like, quietly a good game.
What's that?
Is Vanderbilt and Virginia Tech.
Oh, that is a good game.
Virginia Tech needs this one in the worst way.
They also need their quarterback to complete a pass.
Stop throwing to the other team.
And complete any passes in enemy territory, please. Any. He was 1 for 15, I think.
Yeah.
1 for 13.
I watched it start to finish.
I know, but I did too. But then you see the number and you're like, there's no way.
He was horrific.
He was great on the other side of the 50.
And somehow that game was
still close.
Less than a full touchdown until the bomb. And you gave up a 80-yard punt return.
Yeah. Like, if they just don't play disastrous football, they're in that thing.
So was USC better than you thought, or hard to tell because it was Missouri State?
I have no idea yet.
I get it.
I have no idea. If you don't do that to Missouri State, what are we talking about?
Surprised to see BYU is only 18.5 over Stanford.
Little, yeah. Stanford's very, very bad at football.
Pretty bad.
Very, very bad. I will say the one thing about USC is they're designed to beat up on teams like that.
Yeah.
That's a Lincoln Riley.
That's how they made their hay.
Yes. They will beat up on teams like that if you're inferior. And if you're when you start getting similar talent, it catches up with them in a hurry. I think
it's just it's a way less than okay slate.
Oh yeah, I mean it is not. We're not in the neighborhood.
NFL though, on the other hand, is sensational.
Yeah, we'll get to some NFL tomorrow. We'll pick our division winners, our conference winners, our Super Bowl winners, worst to first, MVP, rookies of the year, and we need to get into this. We need to get into some of this quarterback nonsense. I know you get always mad at me when I talk about quarterbacks in the NFL, even though it's a quarterback league. and I guess literally everybody knows that except you. But there's been a lot of blasphemy.
1,
Yeah, I know.
10.
It's been a minute, so I felt like I was due. There's been a lot of blasphemy
unnecessary
about who the top quarterbacks are in the league, and it just keeps going. Whether it goes from Joe Montana talking out of his bunda to NFL coaches and execs voting on who they'd start a franchise with, we got to figure our stuff out, boys, because we're not even close to making sense. Coming up next, though, Madison Hricik is going to make some sense out of Iowa and Iowa State. She'll join us next here on Hurrdat Sports Live.
We're in the neighborhood, just down the street. With a wide variety of home equity products to help you create a relaxing oasis. So you can kick back and relax in comfort. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Well, I think our guys give great effort. Their intent is to give great effort, but when you talk about playing fast, especially in the second half, it comes down to diagnostics of reading plays, determining is it run, is it pass. Because obviously when it's run, we want them going. When it's pass, we want them playing coverage. So that's just something I think we need to keep talking about. Like I said, I think we're always in the mindset of we want them to play hard, physical, execute at a high level, and play for each other. But sometimes there's like a subset of that effort, which I think is just playing fast and trusting what you see and going. And really, especially in the run game and in some of the pass games, rush stuff. I think from a pass coverage stuff, you could clearly see, they couldn't throw the ball, didn't have an interest to. They came out in the second half, and it looked like he said to himself, I don't really know what they're doing coverage-wise, so I'm just going to take off and run. But that's kind of what I mean by that.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Nice. Williams, another big gainer. Inside the 30 to the 25. Back-to-back huge runs for Williams. Xavier Williams, touchdown Iowa. Booming punt. Oh my goodness. Inside the 5. Sam Phillips picks it up. Wide open field for Phillips. And Phillips still on his feet. Finally forced out of bounds at midfield.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi. We're wrapping up the show this morning, and we're going to talk a little Iowa State football with Madison Hricik from Cedar Rapids Gazette covering Iowa. Madison, how are you this morning?
I'm great. Thank you guys so much for having me on. It was great to get the message that you guys wanted to talk about this matchup this week. So happy to be here for sure.
We appreciate it. I'm curious, just because we're pretty familiar with Gronowski. Got a lot of buddies from South Dakota State that coach up there, and I thought the presser was interesting. You know, I always I try to pit my quarterbacks, you know, the way his delivery and kind of how he talks with my head coach and see how closely those connected are. How do you think Coach Ferentz felt about the whole letting it rip and kind of just to play free, right? It's I get it. It's Brewster's offense, and he does probably have to relax. But how did that kind of land? Do you think with the fan base in terms of how Gronowski critiqued his own performance against Albany?
Well, when we're talking specifically about how fans might have reacted after Saturday's opener, I think there are some fans that understand that there were definitely first game jitters going on. And Mark even said it when we talked to him yesterday, that a lot of the mistakes he was making were just coming down to the fact that he was so amped up all day that when it finally came to game time, it just was like you were so tensed up he couldn't really think completely normally how you would expect him to think with how much maturity he has as a quarterback. But at the same time, I can understand that there are some Iowa fans out there that are a little hesitant right now because of the fact that this is not the best first impression you want out of a transfer quarterback who's got 1 year with this school. And on top of that, it's not like Iowa has had this litany of quarterbacks that have the capability of doing all of these wonderful things after not a great first game. So I can understand that there might be some hesitancy with a lot of Hawkeye fans right now. However, I do think just having seen him on tape, I grew up an FCS college reporter at my alma mater, James Madison. So I know that side of Division I football pretty well. And so knowing what I've seen out of him, I wouldn't be surprised if he looks like an entirely different quarterback come Saturday, especially considering he's not going to have the pressure of being in Kinnick Stadium. He's going to be on the road, which I think might actually bode well for him.
So my question is, how are we feeling about his health? He looked like he got banged up a couple times against Albany. I don't know if it was cramps or whatever he was dealing with. Are we feeling like he's 100% ready to go?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think there's any sort of injury issue that fans need to be worried about. It literally just looked like he had a really, really bad calf cramp that would not go away. And honestly, it was pretty hot on Saturday. I remember kind of being outside for a little bit, especially during pregame warmups when we were down on the field. It was hot. And so it wouldn't surprise me if it was just pregame cramps. We were joking with him, like, is the hydration routine changing up ahead of Saturday? I really think it was just the first game jitters. Your body's naturally tensed up because your adrenaline through the roof and you didn't drink enough water, or maybe you drank too much water and now your body's just gonna pull out on you. And I think that's kind of what ended up happening. And so I really don't think there's anything to worry about. No one has really expressed any concern for his health either.
And I'm sure both will come back to the mean. It's just a 1 game sample size, but I'm trying to pit the 3 yards per completion in the passing game versus the incredible efficiency in the red zone, where I think 5 of 5, I think 4 of those were touchdowns. You probably don't want to make a living having to rely on that sort of efficiency, but if you're trying to build some positives about this offense, it's got to be the ability to run the football in those tight, condensed spaces once they got inside the red zone, right? I mean, 5 out of 5 is fantastic, but 4 of those are touchdowns. That's incredible.
I mean, listen, Iowa's going to be Iowa at the end of the day. And if that's their run game, that's their run game. And I think that that's something that worked out really nicely against Albany, is that the run game was just so stellar that, yeah, it sucked because a lot of people were really excited to see what Gronowski was going to do. But at the same time, it wasn't the end of the world because the run game was as efficient as it was on Saturday. Do I think it's going to be as efficient against Iowa State? I don't think you're going to see 310 rushing yards. I feel like you might see some efficiency in the red zone, but I don't know how similar they'll be. I do think it is a positive that you had that kind of performance. And honestly, I do think that it is a positive in some case, or a silver lining, I guess, that not all of the passing game was really on display. It was a very vanilla offensive performance. It was a lot of the same thing over and over again. And Iowa State only has 4 quarters of tape on Iowa. So the lack of passing game on film could be beneficial for a quarterback like Mark, who has a ton of film when he was in South Dakota State, but it's a brand new team now.
And especially with only 16 pass attempts, right? It was like 50.
Exactly. So it's not a ton really to go off of if you're Iowa State's defense. So whether the playbook is actually that in-depth and has those kinds of opportunities for Gronowski to get creative, that we don't know. But it is a silver lining in a sense that, yeah, he didn't have the best passing game against Albany, but that means that whatever they wanted to potentially do against Albany, that's not on film for Iowa State to see.
How much do you think that, I like you said, they're probably not going to run for 300 yards every game, but how much do you think with the offensive line that they have and how they feel about that unit, are they just going to say like, hey, we are going to rely really heavily on that, and maybe we just see if we can win games without Gronowski actually having to do anything? I mean, that feels like a very Iowa model, even though they've got a different type of quarterback this year.
Yeah, I think the jury's still out on that one.
Okay.
If I'm being completely honest with you, I think that when it comes to Iowa offense, the tried and true is the run game. And I think that they're still going to rely very heavily on that, especially when you had a performance like Xavier Williams had. And you know that you've got somebody that could step in, especially considering Kamari Moulton went out so early in that game as well. And so I think that there's potential for it to maybe even be like a 60-40, 60% run game, 40% passing. I think because we have such a small sample size, the jury's still out. We don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it does end up leaning a little bit more towards the run game, but also who knows? For all we know, Gronowski's going to go 15-18 against Iowa State, and all of a sudden everyone's going to be like, oh my gosh, the passing game's back. And I think that's where it becomes hard when you have like a little bit of a wishy-washy debut, is that from an outside perspective, we're not necessarily sure, at least with 100% certainty, how things are going to evolve moving forward right now. And it's a double-edged sword. In some cases it's good, and others we can sit here and chat about different possibilities for the next 6 hours if we wanted to.
Yeah, I think 53 carries in the ground game, but that'll happen when you have the ball for 13 minutes in the third quarter, which was incredible.
Yes.
Let me ask you on the defensive side. Obviously, Beck, ton of experience, and he's been efficient up to this point with how they operated. And I get it; it was North Dakota, but or not North Dakota, with what Iowa State wanted to do on offense after K-State, recovering from the travel. What challenges do you think his experience presents for this defense, and in particular, getting out of the pocket and pressure he can put on that secondary?
I think the biggest thing is just Beck's fast. He is quick at making decisions, and he's got a very consistent receiving group. You've got wide receivers that know how to catch the ball. You have tight ends who have been heavily reliant through these first two games. So I think that's where he's going to have the advantage. I think that's going to put a lot of pressure on Iowa's secondary that is young in the sense of they don't have as many games as, some other players are, particularly when you look at the defensive line or the offensive side of the ball and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, they've gotten their reps, so I can understand the confidence that Ferentz has in the defense. But
Parker's going to be Parker, right? I mean,
exactly. Like it's one of those things where it's like it's going to happen. But I think the biggest thing is just Beck's just so mature. Like he's been their starting quarterback for multiple seasons now, and the step that he took from last season in that bowl game to, the Kansas State game in South Dakota last week, I was thoroughly impressed with what I saw out of him. And so I think that just the maturity level that he has now and the confidence he's got in the pocket, especially to start the season, I think that's going to be a huge priority for Iowa's defense, is just trying to figure out how can you chip down on that confidence a little bit and start making him think a little bit more on his feet, and maybe not so much with that cool, calm, and collected composure that he's had these first two games.
Madison, what's something you're going to be looking at as kind of an indicator that this game's going the way Iowa needs it to in order to win?
Passing game, for one. I think it's seeing what Mark can do. If first game jitters are first game jitters and he feels good about it. I know that Mark said that he prefers an earlier kickoff because it's not just kind of stewing in his brain all day long. So maybe an 11 a.m. kick is going to be beneficial for him. So that's probably going to be one of the first things I'm looking at. But honestly, I'm so interested to see how these two go up against each other at the line of scrimmage. I mean, Iowa State's defensive line is very good. Iowa's offensive line is also very good. So I think that's going to be interesting. And the same goes the other way around. The defensive line for Iowa has been pretty solid, and so is Iowa State's offensive line. So I think the line of scrimmage is going to be something that I'm really going to be honing in on, just to kind of see how these two teams are trying to create holes and trying to get to the quarterbacks and stuff like that. Because it's just that really is going to be where a lot of the plays are going to end up coming down to, is there going to be enough time in the pocket? Are there going to be holes created for running backs?
That's a fascinating matchup because Coach Parker is so consistent in the way and the scheme that Iowa plays with. Iowa State this year, especially 3 tight ends with Burkle and Bramer and Tyler Moore, can present some unique challenges. If you're going to look at the game within the game, what matchup is it? Iowa's defense against Iowa State's offense, or vice versa? Or maybe it's special teams if you're going to get down to the game within the actual game.
Are you talking about who's going to play chess versus checkers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think I really would not be surprised if this comes down to who decides to go for a long field goal at the right time. I really wouldn't be surprised if we see that, especially considering the two kickers both hit career longs not even 5 days ago. 55-yarder and a 63-yarder. So I even wrote about that yesterday. And just in the sense of, these are two kickers that know how to make their moment count. They like the competition up against each other. They like the fact that it's a rivalry too. That adds a little bit of a fun element to, the two of them going up against each other. But I mean, the line of scrimmage is going to be huge, because that's going to dictate, if there's going to be an opportunity for special teams to even get into field goal range. But when it comes to a coach making a call at the right time, I do wonder if it's going to be when Matt Campbell or Kirk Ferentz decides to say, you know what, we're going to go for this kick right now. And I am curious to see if that's going to be what ultimately decides it, especially considering how close these games have been in the last, 10 seasons?
Death taxes in LeVar Woods having a kicker that can deliver the death knell. We know it all too well.
Yeah, been there. Madison, we appreciate the time and enjoy the game this weekend.
Thank you guys so much for having me on. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Madison.
That's Madison Hricik from the Cedar Rapids Gazette. Appreciate her time as we preview Iowa State. To answer your question, I think it's Iowa State's offense versus Iowa's defense.
Me too.
That's where I think
they have a lot of versatility, and we'll see if they can contain Hansen and
I'm a big Rocco Becht guy.
Yeah,
I think he does a great job. I do think what you mentioned with the multiple tight end sets that they're able to run. I know we love Bramer around here, but
he's fantastic.
And he was really good.
And
he's been really good.
And healthy.
Yeah.
And you put him with Burkle, and there's a couple of different ways they can get you. And both their backs are going for over 5 a carry, and I get it. They did handle South Dakota, and you look up and you're thinking, 55-7. You know what that line was?
14.5.
Yeah, and it got as high as 16, but it was still relative. That's not a ton in South Dakota's program.
I was kind of leaning South Dakota.
Well, I think you looked at the number and you couldn't. How could you not?
Yeah, because and also that's a really good FCS. Like we saw Kansas State, North Dakota.
Yeah.
That's what I thought Iowa State, South Dakota was going to be.
I'm with you.
Like that's how I thought that
game.
I'm
100%.
Like that's
and we got some guys up there, and so it was. I'm just like, wow, a lot of respect for the Yotes, right? And good on them.
That was as impressive to me as their performance against Kansas State.
See, quietly, I thought it was too. We'll overlook it because we don't.
Because it's FCS.
We don't get into the FCS thing.
South Dakota's a good program. That's an incredible win.
Yeah.
Like the way they handled them was really, really impressive.
Nice.
I was more impressed than I was them beating Kansas State and Ireland.
Yeah.
In terms of how it looked.
Is K-State in trouble?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't trust Avery Johnson. I said that going in. And I know he hasn't been bad. I just, there's like the numbers are going to be fine. But like in the game, there's not a ton of guys I trust more than Rocco Becht. And there's not a ton of guys that are functional that I trust less than Avery Johnson. That's why I went Iowa State in week 0.
Yeah, well, I was right there with you.
I think Kansas State could be in a little bit of trouble. Especially depending on how long Dylan Edwards is out.
If Iowa State gets this one done, look out.
Iowa State, Utah collision course?
Wouldn't that be something?
Oh, I'd love it. Those are like two of my favorite coaches. Whittingham and Matt Campbell, those are my guys.
Yeah, Ravi all in.
Absolutely. We'll do a bunch of NFL previews tomorrow. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. Hurrdat Sports Live.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.